evening to all the senior doctors and colleagues. So today we are here to celebrate our day, the Doctors' Day. It is in India, Doctors' Day is celebrated on 1st of July, which is the birth and death anniversary of Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy, who was not just a great physician, but also the Chief Minister of the state of Bengal. So we are celebrating by educating our fellow doctors about their rights and safety, PCPNDT law, and also helping them to make them rich by discussing gold bonds and investments. So without much further ado, let's start today's program by seeking the blessings of Lord Dhanvantri, who is the Indian god of medicine. Arun?
Arun, please play the prayer.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantri Amrit Kalash Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantri Amrit Kalash Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantri Amrit Kalash Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yeah. I request our beloved President, Bharti Ma'am, to welcome the guests and the delegates.
Thank you, Dr. Rachna. Vaidyo Narayano Hari. That is what we are all called in the Hindu scriptures. And on this note today, wishing you all a happy Doctor's Day and a safe Doctor's Day in every day of your practice. On behalf of the Karnataka State OG Association, it is indeed an honor and privilege to have Dr. Alexander Thomas, who is an eminent physician, as well as he is got an ardent interest in policy making and safeguarding the interest of all the medical fraternity. Sir, we are indeed obliged to have you with us. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being with us on this very significant day. And of course, we have our ever smiling, ever enthusiastic chief patron, Dr. M.G. Hiremat, who is always there as the backbone, the foundation, and the pillar of our association, and encouraging us to take this Kasoga to greater heights. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of the organizing committee. I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Nagaraj, the patron, as well as our immediate past president, Dr. Vidya Topi. And we have another guest of honor, Dr. Sheila Mane, who has brought great accolades to the Karnataka state. And she is right now the vice chair of the Indian College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. We welcome you, Dr. Sheila ma'am, to this very significant celebration of Doctor's Day. And we have two more doyens who will be chairing our sessions. That is Dr. Priyankur Roy, who is the chairperson of the Public Awareness Committee of FOXI. And we have Dr. Mrityunjay B. Bellad, who is the KCOG Dean for the year 24. He has been newly taken up the post, and he is a teacher of teachers, and he is there now spearheading the Karnataka College of Obstetrician Gynecologists, which is the academic wing of the Kasoga. We extend a warm welcome to all of you. And of course, my dear speakers, Dr. Rekha Rajendra Kumar, the chairperson of the Ethics and Medical Legal Committee, and Dr. Shilpa GB, who will be two of the speakers today. And I have my entire executive committee team here, my secretary, Dr. Rajeshi Palladi, my joint secretary, Dr. Soumya Mani, and the immediate past president, Dr. Vidya Tobi is here with us, and all my dear EC members. And of course, I am much obliged and I warmly welcome all the participants. And I assure you that today this is a webinar on a different line, teaching us doctors, because we have the theme for this year that we are healing hands and we heal with care. But at the same time, let us learn to keep us safe so that when we practice safely, then we can definitely heal many are suffering ones who come to us. So thank you, Rachna, for giving me the opportunity, and over to you again. Thank you. And a warm welcome to all of you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I request Dr. Vidya Tobi ma'am. Is Vidya Tobi ma'am here? Has she
Yeah, she's
joined?
there. There she is.
Yeah, to introduce Dr. Alexander Thomas, sir.
All my dear Kasogians, our chief patron, Dr. M.G. Remat, and our president, Dr. Bharti Rajshekhar, and all the Kasoga office bearers. It is really indeed a pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Alexander Thomas. I'm very much closely associated with his all activities, and lots of praises for him from my side. And it is great thing that Dr. Bharti invited him on this Doctor's Day to deliver his talk as well. So Dr. Alexander Thomas, though he's a orthopedic surgeon by profession, but he has involved himself in the healthcare services, and has a distinguished career in healthcare. Over 4 decades of service in healthcare sector and various key positions. I think he had sent the PDF which ran in pages. Then I told Rachna to concise it. That is also so much to read about him. He has various key roles and contributions. He is a founder, member, and patron of AHPI, ANBAI, and CAHO, and he has a driving policy changes with healthcare landscape. Educational and policy initiative. He is instrumental in incorporating healthcare communication into NABH standards and MBBS and PG curriculum.
Madam, I think that's
and so
enough.
many. So no, sir, other people should know. So those who are joined, we know you, but other people also should know about you and your commitment and how much you have contributed. So I'm just reading about you. You are also has efforts to make the various insurance and accreditation of various hospitals across the country. He has got a leadership in medical education. He is an advocate for senior citizen, and he has made a lot of state level impact and a crucial role in the developing Karnataka state public health policy and engaging with the government to improve the patient-centric healthcare policies. He is also consultant and advisor for various organizations and many publications. I have some of his books, and I'm going through that. He had many recognition and awards as well. And I am very much pleased to invite him to this Kasoga platform for addressing us. And definitely we are going to learn many more things from his talk as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Alexas to speak a few words, address them.
No, Dr.
Thank you,
Rachna. Dr. Rachna, Dr. Alex will be delivering his lecture soon after this just preamble which I will give. You can ask Dr. M.G. Remat and Dr. Sheila Mane to give the opening remarks before Dr. Alex speaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Dr. Bharti. And thank you for this invitation, and thank you for having this program on the eve of Doctor's Day. And I think our chief guest, Dr. Alexander, none other than, I think we know that he is a pioneer in so many things. And he has brought those initiatives which has helped the doctors and which is going to help. So one more thing, I think he's already talking to the academicians. What is important is, I think the younger generation do not know how to communicate. That is a very big problem. So that is the university should include these communication skills also in their curriculum, so that when they face the situation where there is an emergency, they don't know how to handle. And there, the crowd is already has so much of adversities towards the doctor. So I think the communication skills should be brought in. I think it is taken up very seriously. I think so. All our doctors they learn how to communicate, and that may help us to some extent violence against doctors. Another thing is, I think the relationship between the fraternities and between the colleagues ourselves, because we should not be backbiting or saying something about our own colleagues, because then that itself will give a more opportunity for the people to think in a wrong way about the doctors. So very important thing is the communication skills, and next is, I think we have to have a good relationship with our colleagues. And I know, Hassan is an example, I think, and certain districts in Karnataka, I think, where the fraternity is so close to each other, and if there is any problem, all of they come together. Okay. And that type of atmosphere should be there in every city. So even if one colleague has some problem, I think everybody should come and show our strength. At that moment, we have to think that, no, whatever busy I am, I have to go and support my colleague. So maybe we need more social meetings and more physical meetings and try to understand each other. And it should be interdepartmental also. Now, our own subject, we do, but I think IMA is another platform where all of us, but many people are not interested to come on IMA platform. So all other specialties, different specialties, if we have a combined some CMEs or some social gatherings, that will give us an opportunity to discuss our issues and see to it that all of us are in a safe zone. That's all I can say. And thank you very much. And wishing all of us happy Doctors' Day and a safe year ahead for all of us. Thank you. And I wish all the best, Dr. Bharti, for your future endeavors.
Hi, Sheila Madam. Namaste.
Namaste.
At this point, I would
Happy
want
to
to
see
tell
you.
that Bharti
Smiling
ma'am
faces,
has
Rekha.
Dr.
Thank
MG,
you, ma'am.
Dr. MG Hiremat, I would request
Yes,
Dr.
ma'am.
MG
I just
Hiremat.
want to mention that Bharti ma'am has been very active in IMA,
Yes.
which is mainly more of male-dominated area. Madam was IMA KSB state vice president. She was, and she was also a very active member in Women Doctors Wing, and she's led Belgaum Chalo Morcha
Yes.
and all that. I want to just
I
mention.
know. I think.
Thank you, Dr. Rachna.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would request MG Remat sir to speak a few words.
Thank you. Respected President Dr. Bharati, Secretary Dr. Rajeshri, Chief Guest of today's function Dr. Alexander Thomas, Guest of Honor Dr. Sheila Mane, and lot of Kasogians and Foxians have been invited to this very prestigious function, Doctors' Day celebration. As you know, Doctors' Day was celebrated yesterday, but however, one can celebrate the Doctor Day throughout the month of July, because July month belongs to the B.C. Roy, and which is very, very important to know that his birth and death were the same day, and we all honor on this day Dr. B.C. Roy, because his contribution to our medical profession is so much so that he made us proud. So that is the reason we all celebrate this day. And mainly our patients will celebrate the Doctor's Day. And since morning, many of our patients were calling us, wishing us, and they were telling the best of things to the doctors. And there is a lot of responsibility on us. And this again reminds us every year on this day that we have to be there in the society in a big way. And today one of the chief guest is Dr. Alexander Thomas, about whom a lot has been told. In fact, I have never had a direct contact with him since, but he had made me a member of his association AHPI, and so regularly the programs were happening. And I was sorry, sir, I could not come to all the programs, but the way you have worked for the welfare of the society, welfare of the patients is really amazing. I think you should be a model for all of us, sir. And today there are two speakers who are going to speak. They are all well-known speakers, Dr. Rekha and Dr. Silpa, who are going to touch upon many things. And this time the Doctor's Day theme is Wings and Stethoscope, Healers and Hope. Very nicely coined the theme. I think we should live up to this theme without taking much time. I once again wish all of you a happy Doctor's Day, and all the viewers and all the workers are nearly 3,000 in number. And every year, let us celebrate the Doctor's Day in a big way and see that no woman will suffer, no human being will suffer with any disease, and we'll have a healthy society and healthy time for each and everyone. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir. I request Bharti ma'am to elaborate us about importance of Doctor's Day and also elaborate the theme of this year.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rachna, and I thank Dr. M.G. Hiremat and Dr. Sheila Mane for those excellent messages on this day. And just to set the ball rolling, I will just share a few slides to say the significance of Doctor's Day. So let us lay down the preamble for this very interesting seminar, webinar that we are going to have now. Are my slides visible?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
It's not in full
ma'am.
screen, right?
No, it's not full screen, ma'am.
What's happening? Yeah, now it is, I think, right?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll make it slideshow. Yes, it's visible now.
No, Bharti.
It's not full screen,
Same.
ma'am. It is visible.
Visible, but full screen ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ನಂದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ನಿಮಿಷ. Sorry.
ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಾಪಸ್ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಅದೇ. I'll go back. Stop share. Then let me
We welcome Bellad sir. Bellad sir is just
Yeah.
joined in.
Yes, Dr. Bellad, the teacher of teachers who has made time from his busy schedule. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll just take about a few minutes. So once again, very happy, safe Doctor's Year ahead. So let us have healing hands and caring hearts and address all those who come to us. Please unmute the others. So one thing I'm very proud of is that nothing beats being a doctor, and I have been brought up by a doctor, and looking at the way my dad practiced, I always dreamt, and the only dream I had was of becoming a doctor, and I have no regrets because my dream came true. Girls with makeup definitely look good, but girls with the stethoscope look the best. And I would like to tell Dr. Bellad and Dr. M.G. Hiremat that I am a lady doctor with wings as well as a stethoscope, because I do travel the world, and I feel that is also complemented or supplemented my knowledge as I learned in medical school, and that has been a great gift to me. And I thank the Almighty and my parents for this wings and the stethoscope that I have had in my life. So it's a beautiful thing when a career and a passion come together. And of course, we are all passionate about being doctors, and that's what makes us be so successful as doctors. And we all know that Doctor's Day is celebrated on July 1st. It was chosen to honor the birth and death anniversary of Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy. So as told by our previous speakers, Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy was born on the 1st July 1882, and he passed away on 1st July 1962 after a complete day of his normal rituals. He always did a free clinic at his home in his chief minister's quarters. Morning 2 hours he used to see his patients, and following that he used to do his own work, and only then he used to go for his political work. And he passed away on one such very normal day due to normal cardiac arrest. So he had this saying which he always spoke about: whatever thy hands find it to do, do it with the might. And this is what he said, because he he was born in Patna, and then he did his medical school in the Chittaranjan Medical College in Calcutta. And then he dreamt of going abroad to the UK and do his FRCS. And when he went there to the St. Bartholomew's Hospital, he went with around 1,200 rupees in his pocket, which was quite a huge amount in those days. But then when he applied for his fellowship, he had to apply 30 times, but he never gave up. He went on and on applying for his residency, and finally, after 30 attempts, he succeeded in entering the Royal College of Surgeons, and there is where he did his FRCS, and he also finished his 2 FRCS and came back to India to serve his motherland. And he always told Mahatma Gandhi that Swaraj will always remain a dream unless the people are healthy and strong in mind and body. They cannot be so unless mothers have the health and wisdom to look after the children properly. So he impressed that maternal health is very, very important for the economic and the social development of any career. So as a medical practitioner, he was not only a practicing physician, but also a dedicated educator. And he was teaching in the same college, that is the Calcutta Medical College, which is the R.G. Kar Medical College. And my father, Dr. N.B. Nanjappa, had the privilege of studying in the same college. And he used to be very proud of that when he used to say that I studied in the college where Dr. B.C. Roy was teaching. And Dr. B.C. Roy established numerous institutions. To name a few, the Indian Medical Association in 1928 was founded by none other than Dr. B.C. Roy. The Medical Council of India was started by Dr. B.C. Roy. He was also instrumental in founding many of the eminent hospitals like the Jadavpur TB Hospital, Chittaranjan Cancer Institute, and the Kamala Nehru Memorial Hospital in Calcutta. Later on, his closeness and intimacy to Mahatma Gandhi, he did partake in the freedom struggle for India, and he was impressed. So he took over as the second Chief Minister of West Bengal from 1948 until his death in 1962. His tenure was marked by significant developments in state, including infrastructure projects, educational reforms, and healthcare improvements. He played a key role in founding new cities like the Salt Lake, Kalyani, and Durgapur of West Bengal. He was an active participant in the Indian freedom movement and a very close associate of the Mahatma Gandhi. And he was awarded the Bharat Ratna in 1961, which is the highest civilian honor for his contributions to society. And just 1 year following that, he passed away into immortality. So he was commemorated by the Indian government, and his day of birth and the day he passed away is being commemorated in his memory because of the huge contributions he made, not only to the medical field, but also to the political as well as the social development of India. And hence the National Doctors' Day was declared on July 1st, and we stand practicing. So in honor of Dr. B.C. Roy, who stood a good example to the medical fraternity, it is said that even on the day he passed away, he had seen a few patients. He used to run a free clinic, and then only he passed away into immortality. So I have just 3 slides, say what we should practice being doctors. Let us heal with good hands. Let us be safe. So what should we do? We have to have the patient-centered care, treat our patients with respect and dignity. As Dr. Sheila Mane said, effective communication with your patients, give them time to address their woes and then listen to them, and then try to communicate as to what is their problem and treat them with empathy and compassion always. And as to professional competence, have a continuous learning process, true to which Kasoga and KCOG and Foxy is doing a lot, continuous learning to update ourselves, to learn and relearn and practice evidence-based medicine, and always maintain skill so that you give the best to those who come to you in suffering. Always have an ethical conduct, be confidential about whatever management you're doing for those who come to you. See that your integrity and honesty do not fall at any time. Do not fall to materialistic and monetary pressures at any time in your practice. Be accountable for whatever you are doing in your clinical practice. That is going to save you in the long run and give you good sleep at night and a healthy life, and of course, a bright future for all those who come to you in care. And then in patient safety, we should never compromise. Always practice safely and talk to them about preventive care. And in this perspective, I have taken up my team as promote wellness and prevent illness. So we should be now talking more about preventive care, start from childhood, and talk to all this community about how to prevent themselves with lifestyle modifications and nutrition, and then collaborate with the other fraternities so that we can give them comprehensive health care by integrating not only our fellow fraternities as well as collaborating the other systems of medicine in our country so that we can give effective medical care to them. And then professional relationship, as rightly said by Dr. Sheila Mane, it is a teamwork. Wherever we work, we have a team. It may be our doctors, nurses, our housekeeping staff, we have our anesthetists, we have our pediatricians, if it's an obstetrician, and if it is other specialties, please work as the team and try to supervise your juniors and mentor them. Always try to mentor somebody, transfer the knowledge and experience that you have gained so that we have a next reign of doctors who are mentored by somebody who has a lot of academic and professional skill, and they carry on their legacy. And have a respectful interaction with all of your colleagues. Always have a respectful interaction. Do not pass loose comments. Do not talk ill of your colleagues. And of course, we have to, as Dr. Alex will be talking now, about the legal and regulatory compliance, which we are bound to. Let us not grumble about the various legislations that the government of India has come up with. Probably they have come up for a reason. So let us learn to adhere to standards in our practice. Let us document what all we do so that we have safe practices, and always follow the reporting obligations we have to the government of India. We need to report all our indices so that it provides a good data to audit and provide better healthcare to the society. And of course, coming back, last but not least, do not neglect your personal well-being, looking after your patients and looking after your colleagues. Please balance your work and life. Take time, look after yourself with proper nutrition, exercise, and rest. Have a very balanced work and life balance. And whenever there is any distress, whether it is physical, mental, monetary, or whatsoever, please seek support. You have a lot of friends in your own fraternity, your colleagues, your association. We are all there to help anybody who is having any sort of problems which they will not be able to put out across even to their family members sometimes. So we would request you, please seek support, because we have seen many doctors ending their life or falling prey to many addictive habits because of this stress which they undergo, and they are not able to share this with any of their friends. So we have to balance with friends, with health, with career and family. That is going to make us very happy. And if we adhere to these principles, doctors build trust with patients, maintain professional integrity, and contribute positively to the healthcare system. And let us all be dedicated, observant, compassionate, thorough, organized, and reliable, so that every day in our life is going to be a happy doctor's day. So when there are tears, you are a shoulder. When there is pain, you are a medicine. When there is tragedy, you are a hope. So wishing you all a happy National Doctors' Day. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a few of my thoughts on this very significant Doctors' Day. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you, ma'am, for emphasizing on good practices and also how we should also take care of ourselves. And next, we'll move on to the today's chief guest, Dr. Alexander Sir's talk. He's going to be talking on legal landmarks and rights of doctors. Sir?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, thank you, Dr. Bharti and team, for inviting me to this very prestigious event. I've had the privilege of working with Dr. Bharti and many of her colleagues here, both in the AHPI state chapter and also in the Health Sector Skill Council. And I must tell you that I'm very impressed. Very dependable, very sincere, and very passionate in what they do. So thank you once again. So before I start, I just once again want to remember our With gratitude, Dr. B.C. Roy. Much has been said about him. He's a visionary and one of the founding fathers. I won't go strictly according to the topic. I thought I'd just talk a little generally, and also what is relevant and maybe something new which we could
Yes, sir.
discuss. Now, a little bit about H. I'm sure you know about HPI, CAHO, and ANPAI. All these three had the privilege of founding, and all the three societies now work at the national level. We interact with the government. Very importantly, we also work very closely with the IMA. And especially during COVID, we are actually joined hands with CII, FICCI, NatHealth, and the IMA. And we were able to actually talk to the government, and they did listen to us. So I think you spoke, many of you, when introduction, you spoke a lot about me. I had to emphasize that it wasn't done by me. It was just done by a group of us. I had the privilege of being part of that group. So unity is absolutely necessary. Teamwork is absolutely necessary in whatever I do during practice, and also working with the government and other stakeholders. So in my opinion, I think in the last 2 decades, there have been 2 major negatives. I'm sure you'll agree with me. One is capitation fees. Fortunately for us, with the reforms of the government, this evil has actually been phased out. But I think doctors coming under the Consumer Protection Act had been a big negative in our as we deal with patients. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the Consumer Protection Act, mainly because of developments over the last few weeks. All of us know about the VP Shanta versus IMA case in 1996. That actually brought in doctors under the ambit of the Consumer Forum, and that has made it actually, it has been detrimental to the practice. I'll come to that a little later, but more recently, in the last week of May, we were looking at, recently the lawyers came out of it. I'm sure all of you heard about it. Till somewhere till February or March, we were actually looking at, we spoke to the policymakers, we spoke to the legal people, our lawyers, and the consensus was that no matter what you do, we will not get out of the Consumer Protection Act. So in fact, as a group, we were trying to actually lobby with the government to come up with capping of the amounts in the Consumer Forum. Not that that will entirely take away the problem, because I know that many of us who have been involved in consumer-related issues, we have lost our sleep, we have lost our well-being, we have lost our health. But anyway, we were actually looking at how we could come up with some sort of a capping to bring some semblance of sanity into this. Fortunately for us, I think all of you would have heard by now, the lawyers, actually, they first went to the to the National Consumer Forum and said that lawyers should be exempt from the Consumer Forum. So if you recall, in 1996, during the IMA versus the VP Shanta case, this was decided by a division bench, I think 3 judges. Yes.
I was saying that after this talk, I'll have to leave for some time now.
Priyankur, please. Dr.
Please mute yourself.
Mute yourself.
I'm really sorry, ma'am.
Yeah. So as I was saying, in 1996, when we came under the ambit of the Consumer Forum, this was divided by a 3-bench division bench of the Supreme Court, and they had set a precedent by affirming that doctors are encompassed within the purview of the Consumer Protection Act. So this sort of ruling sort of signaled a shift in understanding of the Act, saying that all professionals, including those in the legal profession, are also impacted and come under the ambit of the CPA. So the lawyers recently went to the National Consumer Forum and said, we do not come under it. The Consumer Forum said, no, you do come under it. And so they went to the Supreme Court. So the recent judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, I think it was Justice Bela Trivedi and Pankaj Mittal. This was in the Bar Council of India versus D.K. Gandhi. Their final judgment was that lawyers would not be held liable under the Consumer Protection Act for any alleged deficiencies. So I think you should listen to the arguments with interest. They say that unlike the medical profession, where scientific standards exist to decide the standard of care, there is no universal standard of care or objective test that exists that can be prescribed as the threshold in the case of legal profession to adjudicate upon the question of abdication of the duty of care. I hope you have understood. So they're saying that we have standards of care, they don't have standards of care, so it will be difficult to put them under the ambit of the consumer forum. So this again, the debate comes up to fore. Should we doctors, should we be equated with other service providers like carpenters, like bankers, plumbers, etc., under the consumer protection law? We all agree that there are standard guidelines in place, but all of us know the intricate nature of medicine. We know that we are not, we lack the exact science, and each patient is actually poses a unique challenge. Even with the best of standards of care, the desired outcomes may not always be achieved. We medical professionals and doctors are trained to provide optimal care ethically, and the outcomes, unfortunately or unfortunately, largely depend on the patient's conditions. And I think all of us in the medical field will agree on this. Now, just going back into the Supreme Court's, how did they base their judgment on? So the question they asked was, when the legislative got the people under got the doctors under the ambit of VP Shanta, was the intention, was it to include professionals within the purview of the CPA? So in answering this question, which they had voiced, the court observed, and I read out from the judgment, professionals could not be called businessmen or traders, nor could clients or patients be called consumers. I'll repeat it so it'll be a little more clearer. Professionals, and here we can say doctors or lawyers, could not be called businessmen or traders, nor could clients or patients be called consumers. They also said that you have to keep in mind that the term business or trade, having a commercial aspect involved, could not be used interchangeably with the term profession. And when you talk about profession, it always involves some branch of learning or science. So the very purpose and objective of the CPA 1986, as reenacted in 2019, was to provide protection to the consumers from unfair trade practices and unethical business practices only. There is nothing on record, the court says, to suggest that the legislator ever intended to include professionals or professionals within the act. So I think this part of the judgment brings a lot of hope to us. Now let's listen further to what the court said. They went further and
Sir, your
examined.
slides are not moving, sir.
Yeah, it's intentional. I thought I
Okay,
spent some
thank you.
time.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So they went further and examined whether the legal profession is distinct from other professions, even when considered in the light of the VP Shanta case logic. And they concluded that the legal profession cannot be compared with any other profession, and particularly not with the medical profession. So I think it's encouraging to note that in this context, one of the judges observed that the VP Shanta case be re-examined by the constitutional bench for its correctness. The second judge, Justice Mittal, compared the Indian consumer protection law with many comparable laws from other jurisdictions in other countries. And from that analysis, he says, in India, the services of professionals, more particularly that of lawyers, have to be excluded from consumer protection law. So I think these two statements by the two-bench judge, they bring us a lot of hope, even though the focus was to take out lawyers from the ambit of the consumer forum. This is the first time that judges have said that they are uncomfortable about professionals being under the ambit of the consumer protection law. Now, I think once this judgment was out, many doctors started jumping up and down with joy, saying that we'll be out of the ambit of the consumer forum. So here also, I think I just need to clarify that the submission to the Chief Justice for reviewing the VP Shanta case judgment is merely made, in legal terms, it's called as an obiter or an observation. And this raises the point whether the Chief Justice of India is obliged to constitute the bench in this regard, or whether it is only an observation. Until now, really nothing has happened. So I think this is a good opportunity. All of you will agree. I think this is a good opportunity. We have actually been following this for the last 7 or 8 years, and we think that this is the first time that the situation has changed. This is an unexpected opportunity. But however, if we all just sit quiet and say, "Oh, there's a chance that the Chief Justice will ask for a bench, and then we decide," I don't think anything is going to happen. We need to be proactive. So we have again want to reiterate that this is an unexpected opportunity. It actually suddenly fell into our hands, and I think as medical professionals, we need to take this forward. AHPI is planning to file a writ petition, but it will be good that even the OBS-GYN federations, the IMA, all of us join, because I think the situation now is a little different. And we spoke to some legal experts, we spoke to some policymakers, and they all feel that there is a good chance that if we go to court, that we will that we may come out of the ambit of the Consumer Protection Act. So I think that is the first part of my talk. Now the second part, I think Dr. Sheila Mane had mentioned what are the challenges. So I thought I'll just talk a little bit about the challenges. One of it is violence, and unfortunately, I think obstetricians and gynecologists are at the receiving end. I think if you look at the ratio, obstetricians and gynecologists have faced so much of this problem. In fact, we have, as was mentioned, we have lost many young budding gynecologists because of violence. And I think this is another issue that needs to be handled. There is one more issue which especially relates to the obstetrics and gynecology, and that's the PCP Act. All I can say is at the moment is that we are in dialogue with the policymakers to try and ensure that it is not so stringent and so difficult for doctors. Now, looking at violence, I think a lot of what I was going to say has already been mentioned, but let me just talk a little bit. Now, the biggest, this is based on an analysis that communication, lack of appropriate communication is one of the main reasons for violence against hospitals. The nurses, the doctors, the administrators, sometimes we are not actually taught how to communicate. And as was mentioned earlier, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and I think everybody knows that orthopedic surgeons are very, very not mindful of their communication. And I think this is a fault of the policy. All I'm glad to say is that we have actually addressed that problem. I'll come to that a little bit later. Now, coming to violence in hospitals, I think all the points that Dr. Sheila Mane mentioned are actually true. And it's available in this book, Perils in Practice. This incidentally was written by the IMA president at that time and myself. And it covers all the topics which I mentioned about teamwork, about not talking behind somebody's back, especially a colleague. When there's trouble, you have to get together. This is available as a free download. You can go to the website and get this. If you need any printed copies, we'll be happy to send this to you. Now, coming just a little bit about, I think all of us know about this. What is the downside of CPA and violence against medical doctors? The trust, which is so very, very crucial between patient and doctor, which was there a few decades ago, it has been eroded significantly. Costs have increased significantly because I think all of us now take abundant caution while seeing patients and make sure that we don't miss out on any investigations. The cost of medical care has increased. And I think Bharti was saying that nothing beats being a doctor. But we have actually many of the young people who wanted to do medicine because of the CPA and because of the increase in the incidence of violence. I know many young, bright professionals who have chosen other areas to work in. Now, coming back to communication, which I think again was mentioned 3 or 4 times. Here again, we have actually written a book called Communicate, Care, Cure, the first book in the company in 2012. We are now getting ready to write the 4th edition. Actually, there's a lot of work being done on this, and this is also available now on Amazon. The next edition, we are actually planning to make it available free. So in a nutshell, you have to be open and transparent. You have to communicate with compassion and empathy. And I want to tell all of you, especially Dr. Sheila, that with our efforts with the Medical Council of India, This has now been introduced into the curriculum in 2019, both for undergraduate and postgraduate courses. And I'm sure that this year, I think the first batch will pass out. I'm sure that we will see reduction in violence because we have been able to address some extent address the issue of communication. I think this is understandable, and I know that working with all of you work on integrity-based medicine and ethics, and I think most importantly that we have to give patient-centric care. There is a small minority of us who are black sheep in the family, and unfortunately, the society believes that many of us are like this. I think how we can actually counter that is by each of us individually ensuring that the patient is the center of what we do and that we practice ethical and integrity-based medicine. Now, I think again, this is also spoken about. Many of our colleagues, and especially in your field, in obstetrics and gynecology, you work around the patient. There's no day, there is no time, you're on call. We periodically do conclaves related to what is the need of the hour among the society. The last one we did was on elder care and senior citizens. The next one we are doing is on lifestyle medicine, and we're doing it in CMC Vellore on October 15th and 16th. We're also coming out with a book. And as Dr. Bharti said, I think it's important. Prevention is important. We need to keep healthy. And I'm an orthopedic surgeon, but when I was getting this book together, I think it's very, very crucial that we have a work-life balance. Sleep is very, very crucial. I think we as medical students, when we were students, we used to go saying, I slept only 2 hours, I slept only 3 hours, but that is not good for health. Sleep plays a very important role in the regeneration and correction of inflammation in setting things right. So it's important that doctors do get at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep. This book that we're writing will be available free online. I'll share the link with you when it's ready. It's hopefully ready sometime in September of this year. Exercise is something also very, very crucial. All of us, and we should also tell our juniors that they should put in at least about an hour of exercise, including yoga. Nutrition is another pillar of healthy living. I was actually, I'm a Syrian Christian. Normally we have non-vegetarian for breakfast, for tea, for lunch, for evening tea, and for dinner. Since writing this book, now I've changed over to mainly a plant-based vegetarian diet, and I think it has helped. Mental health, as we were talking about, is so very important. And I think with all the challenges that we face, it's important that we need to ensure that we give time to ourselves and ensure that we don't unnecessarily get stressed out. I think problems will come, we will have to handle it. I know many of our colleagues who run smaller nursing homes, they're always worrying about this, about that, about the others. So I think that's very important. Social networking and family is also very crucial. Now, I have had occasion, when I was working in a mission hospital, I had many of my colleagues working for 16, 18 hours a day, and we brought in a rule that they have to leave by 5 o'clock in the evening, they have to spend time with the family. So I think it's important that unless we look after our health, we will not be able to take care of others. So I think that my message to all of you is, look, when you fly in an airplane, the first thing they tell you is if there's no oxygen, please give oxygen to yourself before giving others. So all my colleagues here, please stay healthy to keep others healthy. And once again, thank you for inviting me, and a happy Doctor's Day to all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Alex. That was so wonderful. And as you said, it's being safe, and you have brought out all the positive feelings to us that I think the days are brighter provided we pursue the matter what the Chief Justice has observed, and we try to. And I'm sure you are in the front line there, and with your guidance and all of us along with you, let us try to do something which will be good for the medical fraternity. And for years to come, people will remember you for whatever you are doing for us today. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexander sir. It was a great talk. We learned many things from you, and it's great to know you, sir. All the great work you have done. I think we should all thank Dr. Bharti Madam for bringing him to today's webinar. Thank you so much. Now we move on to next session. We have two talks in this session by eminent speakers, Dr. Rekha Rajendra Kumar and Dr. Shilpa GB. I welcome our Honorary Secretary, Dr. Rajeshri Madam, to introduce the chairpersons for this session, Dr. M.B. Ballat sir and Dr. Priyankur.
My pranamams to everybody and happy Doctor's Day. I'm sure the concept of Dr. Bharti Rajshekar has been well taken by all of us, that we need to take care of ourselves before we take care of others. And a wonderful talk by Dr. Thomas. And I'm sure that we all have been highly educated and knowledgeable by the message passed on by Dr. Bharti and Doctor. Now we are moving on to yet another topic of having our self-sustenance. One is to take care of ourselves from the medical legal aspect, and second most important, which all we works, is taking care of the finances. And I'm sure that Dr. Shilpa has very good message for us, because when it comes to finances, we are the worst people to handle it. And I think in the curriculum, this also should be introduced, apart from medical legal aspect and communication, finances and financial management for the doctors. And to chair these two important sessions, we have two very good eminent personalities. One is Dr. Mrutyunjaya Bellat sir and Dr. Priyankur. It's my proud privilege to introduce Dr. Bellat sir, whose CV runs in pages. Actually, I think it has been concise here. Sir has been the recipient of the MS Signature International Award for a phenomenal academician. And I think, sir, the audience should come to know what they can do more looking at personalities like y'all. So let me read the CV. Sir has been the president of Kasoga for 2018-19, recipient of Newton Baba Team Award from MRC London and Department of Biotechnology for cradle trial, cesarean myomectomy, and chaired the session, invited speaker and participant at newer strategies for ANCs at the Gate Foundation at Amsterdam, Calicut OBGYN Society annual conference, felicitated and delivered oration of FGR. He's been invited speaker and guest speaker on many programs, including the King's College London, Oxide South Zone Conference at Hubli, Best Scientist Award from KLE for the year 2013-14, article on sublingual misoprostol, which was published in British Journal, represented FIGO at Colombo, Hyderabad and Varanasi for misoprostol, Best Teacher Award from KLE University 2010-2011, Fellowship from Indian College of OBGYN, ICOG 2007 at Calcutta, awarded the Global Network Scholar of NICHD USA 2004-7, Fellowship in Perinatology from University of Illinois Chicago in the year 2000 itself, wherein still perinatology was a new concept in India. Outcome resource for poor countries, community level interventions, preterm labor trial, cradle trial, co-investigator in many trials, and more than 75 publications in highly reputed journals and 14 chapters, national, international books, and a Google Scholar H index of 17 with Scopus index of 13, obstetric coordinator of Caher Research Unit, and many more. Welcome you, sir, to this session.
Thank you, Dr. Rajeshri. Balladi, I don't think the people know me. There is no need for this, but thank you for chairing that, and that elaborate introduction. It only sometimes takes away the scientific talk of Dr. Rekha and Shilpa on the finance matters. First of all, thank you, Rajeshri, and all the Kasogians and my colleagues. And it's a happy Doctor's Day to everyone. Just give me 1 minute because I'm moving out of the car so that
You're muted, sir.
There's no network, madam, because he's going.
So you have to unmute.
No, Bharti, he is muted.
You have to put off the video, I think. Just to
Hmm.
put off his video and speak.
Sir, we are not
He
able
has
to
got
hear.
connected to his car, I think.
One
Car
second.
matter.
Now you're
Can
audible.
you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
From
yes.
the car, you are inside your house. We can
We
see
can
also.
hear you now. We can hear
Because
you.
what happened was, I was from the car. It was linked with the
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth. Can you hear me
Bluetooth.
now from I am at home.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
Yes, sir.
We
We
can.
know
Yeah.
that. We know that.
See, the PCPNDT has become one of the source to take away the financial aspect of money from the doctors.
Yes.
The application to approve registration of the machines and to maintenance. The culprits do not get punished, but the innocents are penalized. And this should not go into the officers. There has to be proper understanding of the PCPNDT by the officers themselves. And this message has to go to the officers. What we are learning is the PCPNDT, most of us know, but unfortunately, it is misutilized by the agencies who supervise on us. So please, this is a message I want to, that whole Kasoga should team and give the representation to the government and to the submit the same to the government of India, that there should not be harassment and bribing to get the certificates, registrations for new machines and the centers. So Rekha, please, because all of us know about the PCPNDT and they ask for these documentation. We are a straightforward people. There are culprits, black sheeps with us. They know them also, but the actions are not being taken because of some other reasons. So let's not fail. We are for our own women and we want our women to flourish. So PCPNDT, please highlight on that, Dr. Rekha. But see that later on the Kasoga under the leadership of Bharti, who is very close to Bangalore, should take up this issue and see that we discuss with the government.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Bellad. I am state representative and state advisory board of PCPNDT. And recently we had a meeting with the health minister, and definitely if it is through Kasoga, definitely it has to be put forth. And in the next meeting, which will happen in 2 months, definitely we will be putting it.
Yeah. Dr. Vidya, please let us know so that Kasoga can also join.
Yeah. Actually,
Yes.
we had planned one meeting as well, no? With the health minister.
Yes.
Can we have the CV of Dr. Priyankur? He is there.
Priyankur, please.
Not
Priyankur,
take
look
much
at
of
it.
your time.
Yes.
Please spare
No,
a few
I'm
minutes
for
of
you.
your precious time with us.
Yes,
Public
No, ma'am,
awareness.
it's always a pleasure. Like homecoming again. So it's really nice to be with all of you. Ma'am, I just request you to keep it very short. Thank you so much, Rajshri ma'am.
Yeah, Priyankur, it's always a wonderful thing to have you on screen with us. It would be nice if you could come for a physical meeting also. It gives me a pleasure to introduce our young Turk, Priyankur Roy, who is also a Karnataka boy, done his education in Karnataka, major part of it. He's a MS gold medalist with a diploma in gynae endoscopy from Germany and many more degrees. Associate professor at the Lord Buddha Koshi Medical College and Hospital in Sahasra, consultant infertility and gynec endoscopy at Royce Multi-Speciality Hospital and Ramakrishna IVF Siliguri, chairperson of the Public Awareness Committee FOXI as of present, president of VETOG FIGO, MCM ISAR, India and Bengal chapter, member and Women in Crisis FIGO, member of Scientific Program Coordinator, FIGO World Congress, etc. Joint Secretary of the Siliguri OBGYN and Justices Society of India, Treasurer of IMA Siliguri, Organizing Secretary of the East Zone Yuva FOXI 2020 and 24 and International VETOG Conference in 2021. Invited as a faculty in many international and national conferences, including FIGO, FOXI, and AOFOG. Published more than 80 articles in various international and national journals, authored 35 chapters, editorial board, and peer reviewer of various journals, including IJGO and JOGI and JSAFOOG. He has been awarded with many awards, including the FOXI Korean, FOXI Future, AOFOG Ratnam Young Gynecologist Award, FOXI Kamini Rao Orator, Dr. Shanti Yadav Award, and all the many more awards. And at such young age, he has accumulated so many awards. And I think by the time he comes to retirement, he will need a room full to keep his awards and memoirs. Welcome to the program, Priyankur.
Not a room, he needs a house. A warehouse.
No, ma'am, not that. No, ma'am. Thank you so much for the for the warm introduction. It's always feels homecoming again, as I said, to be in any of the Kasoga programs. And I was indeed very privileged to be when the Kasoga, the academic sessions had started every month, and you had invited me to be the speaker for the first session. I was indeed very, very happy and very privileged to be there as well. And thanks for inviting me for this special program of Doctor's Day. So thank you so much. I wish everyone a very happy Doctor's Day. And I would really like to thank Hiremat sir, Nagaraj sir, Bharti ma'am, Rajshri ma'am, Dr. Suman Gaddi ma'am, Dr. Durgadas sir, and Dr. Vidya Thobi ma'am for allowing me to be here. We've already heard two excellent talks, and I'm sure the two next speakers, Dr. Rekha Rajendra Kumar ma'am and Dr. Shilpa, are going to highlight the same as well beautifully. Thanks to Bellat sir for giving me opportunity to co-chair with him, because that's indeed a matter of pleasure for me. And I would also like to thank the conveners, Rachna ma'am and Shobha ma'am. And thank you so much, everyone, for allowing me to be here.
Thank you,
And
Dr.
I would wish Bharti ma'am again all the very best for your future endeavors, ma'am. I'm sure this time is going to be perfectly fine for us. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Dr. Priyankur. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Bharti, one word about Dr. Shilpa GB.
Yes, sir.
We didn't introduce the next one. Doctors are very poor understanding persons about the finances. Other than their professions, they are very poor in other things. So I think, Shilpa, you educate and make us learn better in these aspects. So
Dr.
that
Bella, you and me are very late. You and me are very late.
No, we at least we can guide someone else.
Yes, we can guide somebody else.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Rekha, you can start your talk. And Dr. Rekha has to be introduced, Dr. Rachana.
Yes, you want us to introduce me?
Yeah, Priyankur, please introduce Dr. Rekha.
Yeah, I'll introduce Dr. Rekha ma'am. So thank you so much for the opportunity again. Bellat sir, with your permission, I will introduce Rekha ma'am. So
you yourself should introduce.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So Rekha ma'am is, of course, the medical director at the Miracle IVF Hospital and Chandana Hospital in Bangalore. I will not go through the CV entirely, but I will tell her she's a very, very active member of the Public Awareness Committee, has done a lot of camps, etc. here as well. She has been the chairperson of the Ethics and Medical Legal Committee of Kasoga presently, and she is also currently the president of Bangalore Obs Gynae Society. And we have seen a lot of programs, actually a flurry of programs that have been coming in over the last month or so. And it's been like every day morning you open the groups and it's Bangalore Obs Gynae Society under her leadership doing a lot of programs. So congratulations, ma'am, for that. You have done wonderfully well, and I'm sure it's going to be, from Bangalore is going to be on the Foxy level as well in the near future. So over to you, Rekha ma'am, for your talk on PCPNDT Act. As Bellat sir said, is very, very important to seal the loopholes where we get caught and we get stuck. Unfortunately, like the straightforward people get stuck, unfortunately. So I think your talk is going to enlighten all of us. Over to you, Rekha ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Priyankur, for the warm introduction. In the very beginning, let me place on record my thanks to all the pioneers of Kasoga, starting right from Dr. Hiremat sir, Dr. Nagaraj, Dr. Vidya Thobi madam, Dr. Kasturi Donima, Dr. Bharti Rajshekar, Dr. Palladi, Dr. Durgadas Asrana, and all my friends, other than the chairpersons, Dr. Bellat sir and Dr. Priyankur Rai. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Dr. Bellat sir, I have prepared my slide a little bit earlier before you told whatever you wanted to tell today, but I hope that I will satisfy and try to keep up to your expectation. So here I start sharing my screen. Mine is a very simple presentation where it tells, I'll make full screen one. Please allow me. I'm going to talk about the PCPNDT Act comprehensively, and the slides will take us through also how we can safeguard ourselves. So I'm with full screen and I'm starting my session. So as sir said, it is not just the PCPNDT Act what I'm talking. It is more of a how we can save ourselves or safeguard ourselves, like the record keeping part of the PCPNDT Act. I'm going to emphasize on that aspect. So this is what Sanjay Das says in Munaba MBBS. तो उसको फॉर्म भरना जरूरी है क्या? तो ऐसा फॉर्म भरना हमें बहुत जरूरी है. It is always PCPNDT is equal to filling all the forms, and you have to be extremely careful. So this is a very important slide where it says, think a world without the girls. India kills 10 million girls, a very, very shocking fact in 20 years. So don't kill, let them see the world. So this is a very introductory slide of mine. Now coming to the prenatal diagnostic procedures, they include any procedure which we do in and around pregnancy in the ultrasound aspect of it. Like maybe it's a simple ultrasonography, the fetoscopy, or little bit invasive tests like the chorionic villus biopsy or the amniocentesis or any other test which we do which is related to the ultrasound part of it. All the places where these procedures are carried out must be registered under this act. So this is the basic fact. Whatever you're touching a pregnant woman and doing ultrasound for her, then you are under this act. The preconception and a prenatal diagnostic techniques, that is a PC is preconception. PCPNDT is the second half, is the prenatal diagnostic technique. So that is what the full form of this PCPNDT Act. It's an act of the Parliament of India that was enacted to stop the female feticide. This is different from the MTP Act. Remember, MTP Act has nothing to do with the knowing of the sex of the fetus. It is gender neutral. Whereas the PCPNDT Act is a one particularly saving the girl child. So, and arrest the declining the sex ratio in India is the motive of this act. So this act is a legislation to curb the aberrant practice, what we have been reading day in and day out in the newspaper. And this act is to clamp on that. So using the diagnostic techniques for the sex selection or the detection is discriminatory and violates the fundamental right to equality. So everybody under Constitution has the fundamental right to equality. So, but ironically, what happened, the more advances came in our medical field, like our ultrasound, like our amniocentesis, the more we started knowing about the fetal sex also. So in the recent years, the misuse of the medical technologies that have the potential to detect the sex of the fetus in the prenatal period is an unfortunate fact. The disturbing child sex ratios in 91 census and the consistent please mute.
Somebody is unmute. Please mute.
Yes, consistent campaigning on this issue by women's groups, the NGOs, and the other civil society groups all over the country. Everybody got awakened on this fact, and that resulted in the regulation or the regulation on the misuse of this act, and that is where is the birth of PCPNDT Act. So how did it evolve? It evolved with certain amendments, like it started first foothold in 1994. Something came into existence called PNDT. Then there was again some more change that it implemented to the preconception and prenatal diagnostic both. There's a prohibition of the sex selection that was in 2003, got further amended in 2011, where the bringing the ultrasound techniques of the preconception sex selection. So ultrasound got into the purview, and that was in 2011 in the ambit of this act strictly and provision of more stringent punishments also. So in 2011, what happened? One, ultrasound. The two is the punishments became more strict. The noose started getting tightened around our neck. So the sex ratio, how it all happened? The sex ratio means it is the ratio of the number of females to 1,000 males in a population. According to 2011 census, this ratio is 933 women for every 1,000 women. It increased to 943 females per 1,000 males in 2011, so slightly better. Now, according to the national, that is our NFHS 5, the India sex ratio in 2023 is 1,020, something really encouraging, something really heartening, and something really freshening news for all of us, maybe because of our strict implementation of the PCPNDT Act. All of us know what is a bill and what is act. I don't have to reiterate on this issue because of the paucity of time. And to be very brief on this, a bill is still in a proposal form, whereas act is in a consolidated form, and it is irreversible. Once it becomes an act, you can't do anything. If at all, you have to do some change, amendment, whatever, has to be in the phase of bill itself. So now coming to certain questions on this PCPNDT. Who can perform the obstetric ultrasound? What are the qualifications required? Degree in obstetrics gynecology or the DGO, the MBBS doctor who has full comprehensive 6 months course in the ultrasound and also passing that examination and certificate. There are other allied courses also. So these are the ones who are eligible to take the to conduct the ultrasonography. Now, what are the documents to be submitted for the first time registration of the ultrasound machine? Something similar to our ART center registration. Similarly, for the PCPNDT also, there are certain forms to be submitted. Form A is the one which is the very initial form where we fill up. Also add the details of the make of the machine, the model, the manufacturer, like it is a GE or Samsung, whatever. The sketch of the ultrasound room where you're going to do, and the minimum dimension including the washroom. The attached washroom is very much necessary, has to be 14 into 17 feet or 120 square feet. This is the minimum dimension. The affidavit has to be attached. The enclosing letter where we say that this is the place where we are doing and all that. Then the declaration where we say that we will not reveal the sex of the fetus when we do ultrasound, etc. The KPME certificate, copy of the KMC registration certificate, that is our certificate, the care doctor, whoever is doing, the sonologist or the gynecologist, and of course the payment details has to be added with the DD and all the details of the DD. So it is a 25,000 for the routine ultrasound clinic, or if it is something you're doing more like the genetic clinic, it's a 35,000. It is the initial payment, or it is a first time registration. Renewal, it is fees is half of this. So this is Form A, how we submit. Then coming to the guidelines for the sonologist or the imaging center, only the registered doctors, as I have mentioned previously, who have passed and qualified themselves can perform ultrasound. The place also should be registered. When you get that Form B, the place will be there. It will be mentioned. Number of machines you have to mention. It may be more than one machine that you are getting registered. That has to be mentioned, but they don't have a limit on the number of ultrasound machines. If you can even have 10 machines, no problem. But the model number of the machine has to be mentioned, and it cannot be transferred from one center to another. So these are the basic guidelines. Now, what are the public information? When the patient, the pregnant woman or anybody or her relative walks into your clinic, what are the things they should know about the ultrasound? The one copy of each of the act and the rule book should be kept in the premises where you are doing ultrasound. Name and designation of the doctor should be displayed prominently on the apron. Name and designation of the doctor must be written in that form, the scan report, and it should be at the place of the signature. No picture of god or goddess should be in the scan room. And attendants, the latest rule is attendants are not supposed to be allowed inside the scan room, because they take the video or they take the photo, send it to somebody. So all this becomes a lot of problems. So it is a strict no for the attendants to be allowed inside. So now what are the boards that have to be displayed? One, the Form B, that is once you have got the license that the center is registered, this certificate should be displayed at a very conspicuous place at the center, and also another copy in the scan room, and also another sentence in English as well as a local language, which should explicitly say that sex detection and sex selection is not done in the center. Disclosure of the sex of the fetus is prohibited under law and is punishable under the PCPNDT Act. This has to be displayed in the waiting area as other than Form A and Form B. We have already explained what is Form A and Form B. Form C is if it is rejected, you still have a scope to give explanation and get it registered. Form D is form for maintenance of records by the genetic counseling center, not by a regular ultrasound place. Form E is for the maintenance of records by, again, genetic laboratory. Form F I have mentioned in bold because this is the form which a regular ultrasound or a gynecologist has to submit. So the form for maintenance of records by the genetic clinic or even the ultrasound center, Form F has to be filled for submission. Form G is consent for prenatal invasive diagnostics, and H is form for permanent maintenance of all these rejection or the application submission. Now, Form B is the one which I was mentioning, that we have to have this. This is a main form for certificate of registration. Now, what are the different forms to be filled and maintained at the center when you are doing a routine basic ultrasound scan? previous forms which I mentioned were applicable to the genetic center also. And now this is the different forms to be maintained in a regular obstetricians clinic, whoever does the ultrasound. So maintain the PCPNDT register. We will tell you what this register contains, what are the components of this register. The referral letter, it may be a self-referral, but that has to be maintained. Or if it is referred somebody, that also has to be maintained. I will tell about the component of this referral letter little bit later. The form F, which I have already told, which we have to submit. Now it has become the online submission to be signed by the patient also. There are A, B, and C, D. There are 4 components. It has to be maintained in duplicate for 2 years. Patient declaration form, which is in the lower part of form F, we will show you that. The duplicate copy of the report and images, which has to be maintained by us. Images and reports should be maintained in the center at least for 2 years. Remember this fact. Now, what are the details in the entry of that register? The very first one, which I was telling here, the very first line. So that has the following components. So this is called a 5-point register. So it has the 5 important columns there. Name and age of the patient, the complete address and phone number of the patient, the prenatal diagnostic procedure, what you are doing. Is it a routine, simple ultrasound? Name of the spouse or father, the date of first visit. So these are the important things that has to be in the 5-point register. What are the details to be entered in the referral slip? The second one, what I was telling is referral slip should contain, it may come from outside, but maybe a self letter, then that is the self referral. So in that case, it should contain name of the referring doctor, the date, to whom it is referred, the patient name, why are you doing a sonogram, the signature, her seal, that is doctors in her letterhead. Self-referral means referring doctor himself is performing the procedure and not at the will of the patient. It is not that patient is asked that way, it is not self, it is self-referral. So details of the name, age, address of the patient along with the Aadhaar card. Every patient should submit the copy of the Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card, another important, other not for the identification alone, it is also for the age of the girl, because all of us here know that any sexual activity, it need not be pregnancy, any sexual activity below the age of 18 completed years is illegal. And that comes under the purview of POCSO Act, and it is our duty to inform the immediate police, nearby police station immediately if we find any such fact. So now what are the different sections under the form F? We said that we have to submit form F. The form F has ABCD columns. The section A, what was telling ABCD, no, in that section A has the general information, age of the patient, the name of the patient, husband's name, etc., etc. Section B to be filled for performing non-invasive diagnostic procedures only, non-invasive. Section C is for invasive, and section D has declaration, which has again 2 parts, declaration by the patient and doctor, both saying that the sex of the fetus is not detected. So this is the form F, and this has all that ABCD which I was mentioning. Then how do we submit this report? We have done the reporting. We are ready with the form. How do we submit? Of course, it varies from state to state. In Karnataka, till very recently, say for past 1 month back, we had to give a hard copy also at the end of the month. That is the very beginning of the next month. Within first 5 days of a month, fifth date of the month, go and submit it at PCPNDT office. But now it is online submission every day. Some people can do it. They say that adding together and submit once in 3 days for 5 days, but it is better if you do every day, same day in the evening, and there is no submission of hard copy. It is, you have to again submit online, but before 5th of the next month. So there is no hard copy submission. Preserving the records, very, very important. All the records of each woman, whichever I mentioned, the form F, the referral letter, all the forms have to be mentioned for 2 years minimum. In the event of any legal proceedings, in that case, the record shall be preserved till the final disposal of the legal proceedings. Very important, or till the expiry of the said period of 2 years, whichever is later. If the case is finished, cleared much earlier, so at the end of 6 months, in spite of that, it has to be kept for 2 years, because whichever is later. So some details about the renewal of registration. It's almost like a very beginning when you take the initial registration, but remember, that you have to cover that gray period. So you submit it earlier, about 30 days early, because for this transition period, during that period, if you have submitted later, you may have a period of say 1 month or 15 days where you do not have a registration, and that is a very great offense. Doing any scan without the registration after the expiry date is a very great offense. So to cover that period, you have to submit it bit early. Registration will be given in Form B, even in the renewal, which is again valid for 5 years. Whether it's the first or later, everything is valid for 5 years. Now, what are the documents to be submitted for renewal registration? Again, almost same, but also you have to add the previous Form B, display the Xerox in your center and submit the original form. And another change here is the fees is half if you have not crossed the expiry date. If you have submitted earlier, it is half of the original fees. If they do not report to you, you have submitted all your records, but there is no answer from their side, which is a very common thing. If such a thing happens, what are you going to do? In the event of failure of the appropriate authority to renew the certificate of registration, or to even communicate within a period, like it is about to finish, your expiry is about to finish, you have submitted well in advance, but they are refusing to reply to you. So what do? It is deemed renewed, in the sense the grant of the certificate of registration shall be communicated in less than 90 days from the date of your submission, be it a fresh application or a renewed application. If they don't do that, if they don't communicate to you at all, even at the end of 90 days, then the certificate of registration shall be deemed to have been renewed. So their masterly inactivity is considered in a positive way. Take it that it is been accepted. Now, what are the steps or precautions to be taken if you wish to sell your old ultrasound machine? It's not working, or you are not happy with the pictures, whatever. So you want to don't want to do anymore the scan in that. So sale of the ultrasound machine, whether it is a primary sale, that's a very fresh machine buying, or you're selling your already having which machine. So there is it is just not possible. So we have to inform the appropriate authority. No organization, including a commercial organization or a person, including the manufacturer, the importer, the dealer, or the supplier of ultrasound machine, the imaging sciences, or any other equipment shall sell, distribute, supply, rent, allow, or authorize the use of any such machine or the requirement in any manner, whether on payment or otherwise, to any genetic council or the center, and it has to be done with being a registered center. Like when you start your scan, the very first scan, you cannot do just because the machine has arrived in your place. The registration is very much mandatory. The PCPNDT Form B has to be displayed, and then you can start. So no organization can do any such kind without having this Form B. The provider of such machine or the equipment to any person or the body has to inform the appropriate authority. The seller, has to inform once in 3 months. He has to give a list to the appropriate authority that these machines I have sold. So such a provider shall take an affidavit from the concerned purchasing center, clinic, lab, person, or both, that the machine or equipment shall not be used if you are not using for detection. Ultimately, this slide says that everything has to go through the appropriate authority. Point number 1. Point number 2, that the center has to be registered to do any of these things. Now, if you are not at all using that machine, even if it is a scrap, you can't just throw it like that. You can't dispose it off like that. You cannot give it back to the company. You cannot buy back it in an exchange to a new machine. Again, appropriate authority has to be informed, and it is at his discretion to demolish the machine, and everything has to be in writing, and you have to have all those forms that whatever action he has taken. If you have crossed the limits, what are the offenses under the PCPNDT Act? There is something called cognizable, non-bailable, non-compoundable, which all of us know. Acts. Now, what are the major offenses under PCPNDT and what are the minor offenses? The major offenses are, of course, all of us know that it is sex selection, determination, and communicating that, informing the concerned people about the sex selection. The gross deficiency or inaccuracy in maintaining records, like you have not done the Form F at all, or you have never got your registration done. The third important crime is advertising sex determination or sex selection. So the advertisement also is wrong. Coming to the minor offenses, non-display of the PCP entity, you have the form, got it registered, but you have it on your table, not put it in as a display, or non-display of the PCP entity, that book, or non-display of the notice saying sex selection is not performed. These are also offenses, but luckily they are minor offenses. So the punishment for the major offenses is, if it is the first one, it's a 3 years of imprisonment and fine of 10,000 Indian national rupees. Subsequent offenses is 5 years of imprisonment and 50,000 fine. Suspension of the name from the State Medical Council and removal of the name from the MCI register will happen if it is a first offense for 5 years, and permanently it is removed if it is a repeated offense from the MCI register. Name is erased. For the patients and attendants, do they have any punishment? Are they eligible for any punishment? Yes, of course, yes, like the lines which I mentioned earlier, which are equally applicable to the doctor, but there is a clause here that the patient and attendants do not include the pregnant woman, because it is considered that the pregnant woman is forced to undergo the procedure until and unless you have shown the evidence that she is part of the crime. Otherwise, if she is not, it is considered that she is an innocent, so she is out of this punishment. The advertising sex determination or sex selection, it is a direct imprisonment of 3 years of jail, as well as a 10,000 Indian national rupees fine. Now, coming to the minor offenses, one here, it is note that it is not applied to the woman. This is what I was telling, who is compelled to undergo such tests. That what they say, unless proved otherwise, the court shall presume that the woman was compelled and innocent. So she is out of this punishment. Coming to the minor offenses, it may be 3 months jail plus 10,000 fine, or it depends upon how your lawyer pleads your case, what is the strength of your case. Depending on that, your punishment will be for minor offenses. So other which I was mentioning is the non-registration of the center, non-qualified person performing ultrasound, more ultrasound machine at the center which are not registered, machine being taken to the other center. These are also the other punishments which are under the PCPNDT Act. Now, ultimately, it is a burden of proof of this, whether we receive the punishment, whether we are the ones at fault, lies with the accused. To prove his innocence lies with the accused doctor. Doctor has to prove his innocence and is considered guilty until proven innocent. So can we determine the sex of the baby under PCPNDT Act? Yes, but only in some special situations when there is a risk of any chromosomal, genetic, or the congenital abnormalities. There is a such history in the family. So these are the cases where you have the scope of detecting, because that is going to cause a problem in the family. So can the MBBS doctor? Yes, I have already mentioned that the whatever training, suitable training they're supposed to take. So all these things. So coming to a very last slide of mine, what are the drawbacks of PCPNDT Act? Is everything fine in PCPNDT Act? Are we very happy with the PCPNDT Act? Not so happy. We still have some drawbacks of the PCPNDT Act. One is the misuse of the Act. So there is sometimes it can happen that there is a harassment or false accusation against the doctors or the clinics due to small errors in documentation, small spelling mistakes, or the technical non-compliance, which we may not be seeing every time. It may go out of our perusal. So the lack of awareness or compliance, despite awareness campaigns, there is still a lack of awareness and compliance among certain sections of the society, particularly in rural areas. The limited resources in the hospital may result in shortage of trained personnel, and so you may land up in getting a less qualified people or not having people, and you may land up in doing everything, and thus that may result in some shortcomings. The regulatory burden, there is a Act imposes significant regulatory burden on healthcare professionals and the diagnostic centers in the form of extensive paperwork. It's kind of a Damocles sword always hanging on our head. So there's a frequent inspections you are worried about, the time consuming for you more than your practice and thinking about the well-being of your patient. You are more worried about this paperwork and keeping yourself safe. So the changing technologies like Previously, we were supposed to give the hard copy. Now our boys have to learn that how they have to make themselves abreast of how to download the forms, scan forms, the upload the forms. All these things may not be possible in the hands of everybody. So these are all certain controversies or the small drawbacks of the PCPNDT Act. So however, Form F should be filled for all the patients, any woman who is undergoing scan, who is pregnant regardless of the gestational age. Pregnancy is equal to ultrasound. If you are doing ultrasound, is equal to Form F. So it may not be that you are checking the gestational age, the viability, the ectopics, the parity, whatever. It is Form F that has to be filled if it is a pregnant woman. The biggest mistake which we all make is using the ultrasound machine in pregnant women without filling Form F. Like we may be doing it the obstetric ultrasound in the labor room, or we may think that it is just I want to check the fetal heart. I just want to know where the placenta is. I just want to know what the quantity. So no, whatever you're doing, pregnant woman ultrasound is equal to, you have to fill the form. So it's my request to all of you not to use the machine without filling Form F, and use it in all pregnant women. Update yourself with the laws of the land and amendment of the act. So this is the SAND art, which also says save the girl child. So thank you all for your patient listening in encouraging and improving our female sex ratio. I stop here. Thank you.
Rekha, it was wonderful presentation. You gave in-depth information about the PCPNDT Act. So let me, is there a time for one discussion?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, Rekha, one point, see, at the point in labor room, placenta location and fetal heart, are we not justified in doing ultrasound there? And you know that labor rooms, you want to have internet services. Outside you should have there, the clerk has to be there. See, we understand what is happening with the law PCPNDT Act, and it is more misutilized, and people who are actually doing are scot-free.
Yes.
Recently, you must have read in North Karnataka, the person who was not even Aya in the hospital was performing, and the patient died and was noted at the toll gate, and she was brought back, and then where it was done, where the medications are taken. See, those things they need to look at, rather than, that in labor we are doing PCPNDT Act. We are doing an ultrasound. See, you should see the reputation of the person also. There are people, we also got one Tumkur doctor was caught. So those black sheeps are going to be there, whether they are doing, how this patient's eyes were closed and taken in the vehicle, and which room where they took and did the ultrasound, patient herself doesn't know. And who gave this medication for the termination of pregnancy, those they have got. I mean, these are one of the things which, this really genuine person who wants to really help the patient, this act is prohibitory on certain things. I mean, this is, we have to follow as a law of the land. But my concern is we should do something about these through an association, to the representation, to the government, and see that these sorts of things should be curbed. Like an institute in labor, are we going to terminate? I mean, there has to be some meaningful discussion if we do for the checking the fetal ultrasound in labor. And all these we really need to, because if you are doing for ultrasound, use Form F. So that point, I want Rekha and Bharti is close to you. See, we want this to be taken to the government.
Sir,
Dr.
can I
Bella,
comment? Can I comment?
Yes.
Yes, I totally agree with you that in labor room, it's a hilarious fact that we have to check. But as far as the rules are there, like if it may be a decoy patient who has come to our hospital or something, so we have to follow. For the time being, it is there. Follow. That's one thing. The second thing is we went and met, like there was a meeting with the Dr. Vivek Dorai and regarding the same, and there I asked him, as you said, like that we have to educate others. Why so much of difficulty or problem? Sir, please show your face, Dr. MD Bellat, sir. I will not feel it comfortable when I'm not talking to you. Yeah, sir. So I asked him that why can't you punish those people instead of catching us? He said, yes, of course we are doing that. We are doing lot of sting operations, the decoy operations, but we need your doctors, that is a gynecologist help. And when I asked many times, none of the doctors are ready to accompany me for these decoy operations. So
Dr.
this is,
Rekha, can
yeah,
I add?
yes, you
Sir,
can add.
just as you were talking, and even last week, there was some issue when I went to Shumaga also, because the e-Kalyani, in which they want us to enter the MTPs, in that they are asking us for personal data of the patient. So just now, as you were speaking, I have called the RCH, the PCPNDT officer of Hassan, and I have told him to arrange, because they said yesterday they had a meeting. I said, Dr. Chandrika is in charge. We would want to come with Kasoga as a body. We will draft our letter. You're in the ethics and medical, putting down all the points which Dr. Bellat has put and any other points anybody else. We will put them all into an advocacy report and let us take it to the health minister and the deputy directors who are in charge. And as Dr. Bellat said, it is not such an easy task. We have to pursue and tell them the practical difficulties, because those who are doing it are getting away and they are not even filling up any forms, but they are doing scans in sugarcane fields and in some dungeon-like places. So we have to tell these bureaucrats, because they will not accept so easily from doctors. We are very easy targets. So this requires a very huge.
Bharti, am
yes,
I
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Bharti, one thing is MTP Act does not permit the display of the person. Confidentiality.
Yes, sir.
Has
that
to
is
be
what I am
maintained.
talking
So
to them on that issue also.
See, they have to show the other act also.
Yes.
That MTP Act does not permit this.
True.
So because we take these undergraduate classes now because these acts came. That's why our concern is, they do have this. I'm telling you this story. Please, Rekha, listen. This woman has been caught 4 years back with the same, and she is caught free. And she is performing. She was working as an Aya in an institute. Who is giving that drugs to her?
Sir, same thing is happening.
Pandupura.
And we are harassed for being good. We want to save the life here.
So the same thing is happening in Pandupura. The class 4 and the hospital staff have done so many in the campus of the public hospital. So on this perspective, sir, I am taking this into notice. I am going to meet the concerned officials with the Kasoga, and we will submit some memorandum and we will try to follow it up. It may not happen over. We need a lot of meetings, discussions, and we have to convince them. And we will request some of you also to join us. Preliminary, we will try to arrange a meeting. Sir, I am working on this, and just now I have called our PCPNDT officer and said, I want to have a meeting as early as possible. And regarding the MTP, I have already spoken to Dr. Chandrika. And as soon as I go to Bangalore, I will be meeting her and talking to her on this issue, sir. I will definitely take it up, sir.
I totally
you may not be aware, Rekha, I was the one who was punished. I mean, punished in the sense he threatened me. One of the quack had done a termination and killing the fetus, perforation, and the patient came in shock, and the patient was into piecemeals in the baby, and the intestines were cut, and this patient had come in shock. We reported, and that fellow I have protected my family. Can you protect your family? Was a threat message for me. Then we called the police, and he was caught there, and he was brought. He's a quack, and he is now, after giving a huge sum of ransom money, he got out and he's having a big hospital. See, these are the things which are there. And unless we punish these people and take some, and this woman again will get scot free with this, because there is a lot of finances involved.
So this is exactly what I'm saying. This is Dr. Vivek Dharai also told us that you doctors don't support us. You don't come for the squad operations. So because of that, now how you caught that man? There, the doctors are scared of this issue, so they don't support him. So how can I go ahead? This is what he says. When we plan a decoy operation with much planning, that operations do not continue and it gets failed. This happens not only in PCP and DT, it happens in a regular practice also. The so-called Ayush or BAMS doctors, right and left, they are treating all kinds of possible patients. So it is outside the purview of PCP and DT also, we have a lot of problems.
Yeah, but
So
Rekha, I think right now we will take up only one issue at a time.
Yeah, that
So
I
we
know.
will-
I'm just
yeah,
telling
we
you
will
that
take
the
up one
magnitude of
issue.
the problem.
What is bothering us is one is the PCP NDT, which is bothering us a lot. And the second
Yes.
thing is there are some discrepancies in the uploading of documents in the MTP process. So that also has to be addressed. Because they don't have clarity. I spoke to Dr. Chandrika. She says, no, you are giving it only to the government. I said, madam, in
No,
our medical
sufficient-
records department, every day there may be a new person. A new person is uploading the documents and he has access to that patient's documents. Name, age, everything is there. They themselves are confused. So we have to go and sit there and put some sense into their head.
Yes, it is in MTP Act. That is not the only confusion. Even about how many years your Form B is valid also is a confusion. They don't even know that. I have asked many people.
They say it is once for lifetime. That's what they're
No,
saying.
they say, but there is another set of people. Example, my Form B, what they're given to my hospital, they're given the expiry date. When you ask them, they say you have to renew. So they themselves are even not clear about that issue also.
Very true. Now I have applied. I have
About
given
MTP.
my hospital for change of name, and for the past 6 months they are trying to give it. They give some sort of excuse. Server is down. DHO is not there. OTP has not come. Some stupid excuse they give.
Server down is
ಕೊಡಲ್ವಲ್ಲ sir ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಕೊಡಲ್ವಲ್ಲ.
That is what is the problem. Anyway, Madam Rekha, I have
Thank you.
one
Thank you,
question.
Dr. Rekha.
Rekha,
Yes,
one
sir.
more question. You are doing yours is a multi-speciality hospital, right? Or your individual hospital?
It is a private hospital where we have multi-specialities also and IVF.
How you are doing the OT list of MTP? Do you put the name of the patient in the list?
I do not do MTP at all, sir.
Sir, I do, but I do not put that Form C. We have taken the consent on the admission register. I have a code number. I put that consent form into the envelope and keep it secret. And in the register, only the code number is put, sir.
But somewhere you need to maintain the one MTP register where the name of the person.
So that is the first. That is the Form 3. That is the Form 3, which is the admission register. Only that will have her name. Only that will have her name and serial number. In everything else, the serial number on that register will be there on all her other records.
Form C, everything, it is just the number. Everything
Madam, I
is
have
number
one.
except for.
Yeah, I think to the.
Yes,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Durgadas, President-elect. Dr. Durgadas somebody else was wanting to say something. Or we
It's
can.
me, madam. It's me, madam. Shobha.
Shobha. Yes, shall we
Madam,
move on?
Yes, madam. Like, I have one more question, madam. Like, while procuring MIFI and Meso kit, madam, there are some companies who say they don't give it to doctors. They can only give it to pharmacies, which is very wrong. MIFI and
They are usually giving it to the doctor because I don't keep it in the pharmacy at all. I have they have no access in the pharmacy. I give it only with my own hands and make them swallow it, and I don't even give them the cover of the tablet.
I also do the same, madam. But now the companies are saying they don't give it to doctors now. They'll give only to pharmacies. So I think it is wrong, and we should address that issue.
Yeah. Okay, Shobha, definitely. Thank you. I think Dr. Shilpa is waiting to ask us to buy gold.
Yeah.
So let us get into the gold shop now.
Yes.
Do something more pleasing and lucrative.
Thank you, Rekha madam, for a wonderful and informative and much needed talk. Now we move on to our next talk, which is going to be even more interesting. That is by Dr. Shilpa madam. I request Dr. Priyankur to introduce Dr. Shilpa. Dr. Priyankur, are you there?
I think he has left.
Let me introduce Dr. Bharti and
yes,
Dr. I will introduce Dr. Shilpa.
Sure, sir, please.
Shilpa, it's a very pleasure. Person who is infertility expert only can speak on such a gold and investment. Congratulations on the topic. She is a very great academician. I know her in many of her videos are put in. She is MS DNB and practicing obstetrician and gynecologist and laparoscopic surgeon and infertility specialist for the last 20 years in Bangalore. She is a diploma in reproductive medicine and embryology from Germany, and she is a medical director, Shanti Cell Fertility Center, Bloom Women's Center, Bengaluru. She has authored a book on diabetes in obstetrics and gynecology in 2000, published by JP Brothers. So, request you to speak, Shilpa, on a non-academic subject. I think it's great to have a doctor speaking on non-academic. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction, sir. I thank the organizers, Dr. Bharti Madam and Dr. Rajeshri Palladi Madam and Rachana Madam for giving me this opportunity to speak on something which is very close to my heart. So I think this is a life skill which every individual, not just doctors, which every individual should be aware of, because I think moving forward, this is something which can be a life-changing thing for all of us, where we are not worried about the finances, and many a times we just work for the passion that we have for our profession. And I have immense respect, as I have told multiple times, for obstetricians and gynecologists, because we are, I think, a very different breed when it comes to a profession where we are dealing with so much of stress day in and day out. And also we are dealing with life so closely, we see death so closely. So this is something where we need to do as stress-free from the financial aspects as possible, which can again make us better practitioners, make us better human beings, make us better professionals. And also there will be some kind of semblance in our work-life balance, which every one of us is struggling to achieve. So this topic, I think, should be inculcated in our MBBS course itself in the first year, where every doctor should be aware of what we get into, because the age that we start actually making seeing some amount of, like, I mean, that money is quite late in our career when we compare to our friends who are in other professions, who will be thinking of retiring when we are actually like just getting established. So I think knowing about investment, at least to teach our children, is something which every doctor should know, and every woman should be knowing about this thing, because this is going to save us a lot of heartache and also headache in terms when we come for retirement. And as we all know, majority of us are obstetricians, and obstetrics is a high demanding and high intensity branch where we can't go on and on practicing above the age of, like, say 55 or 60, where we all want to like take it easy and kind of diversify ourselves into our own passion, other hobbies and things like that. So that is where, like, the financial security plays a very important role, to have that kind of security. And also when we think of retiring, because of so many circumstances or so many events which happen in our profession, where we will be forced to take a few steps wherein we may not be so actively be able to practice like what we were in our 30s or 40s. So this is one thing which I think everybody should be aware of, and at least they should make informed choices when it comes to dealing with money. And I know as South Indians, we are very conservative talking about money and also discussing about the part of money. That should, I think, should change, where it should be an open discussion even in your a dining table when you're discussing with your children, with your family, with your friends, so that we are not
mistaken for being commercial. We are not mistaken as being money-minded. This is more about how we deal with our own hard-earned money. So I will just take you through few of the important slides. Because of the time constraints, it may not be possible for me to actually go into the details of it. So let me just go through a few slides. So if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, so you will work until you die. So this was told by Mr. Warren Buffett, and I think this is what everyone should take home, as in like having a passive income, like even without working, having an income to sustain your basic lifestyle should be your motto, whether you're working, not working, whatever age you may be. So this gives a lot of like, the mind space, what it occupies when it comes to money is something only few people can understand when we actually like work only for money. So this is something which everyone should take home as that passive income, which you can get to lead your basic lifestyle is the one that you have to strive when you are actively earning. So what is financial literacy? So the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. So financial literacy is not just about being aware of like where to invest. It is also about budgeting. Budgeting as in like what is your income, what is your expenses every month. So most of us talk about like monthly, not annually, like how it happens in other countries. So we talk mostly about monthly. So monthly, what is our, because we get salaries monthly, we make all our things monthly and not quarterly or not annually. So making a budgeting, how much ever you are earning, like what is your income, what is your expense of that month, what would be the need for like, as an emergency fund in case if you need it as a medical expense. So all these things, if you are aware of, then that is called as financial literacy. And in this, the part of it is about investing. So these are some of the myths which I think everybody should disregard. Money is not important. Rich people are bad. Share market is gambling. Finance is difficult. And it needs a lot of time. So whoever has told that money is not important usually have a lot of money by themselves. So when you have that kind of money, it is very easy to talk about philosophy. So till then, I think money is extremely important for at least like, I think for the basic lifestyle that we are all like, I think deserve. I think money is extremely important. And rich people are not bad. See, now we are living in a generation of capitalism wherein we are trying. I actually believe in capitalism, wherein we in fact, the rich people are the ones who will be able to contribute for nation building, and it is not bad to be rich. So it is about our own capabilities and our own value system, which is important in all this. Share market is gambling if you are unaware of what you're doing. If you are aware of what you're doing, then there is nothing like investing in a share market. And this will be told by multiple personalities who have made immense wealth in share market, right from Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who is a popular figure. And I think as the mature individuals, I think doctors are one of the most knowledgeable and also quite balanced people, especially women who are more conservative, who can actually handle the stress of the share market because of the volatility in the short term that it has. But long term, over a period of time, share market is not gambling, but we need to know what it actually involves, which will take some time to understand. Finance is not difficult. I think MBBS and MS are the most toughest course in, I think, on this earth. And finance, you can see that even auto drivers now will be talking about stocks. You can see even now anybody, like even our OT boys will be talking about the stocks and all that stuff. So for doctors, if we put our mind to it, finance is not difficult. And yes, it definitely needs some time, but it is not something which we cannot allot, because this is something which everybody should inculcate at least 20 to 30 minutes in their in a day. So yes, being a doctor, it is a noble profession, and it is very and we are all very busy, and I think we are one of the most hardworking individuals on this earth, especially obstetricians and gynecologists. So I think we all deserve that little comfort and luxury and privileges which money and which the right investment can bring in. So this is something we are living in a generation where we have too much of information, right? From social media, like you can see that there are so many courses which are sold on Facebook, Instagram, even on Twitter, even on TV channels as to which stock to buy, what to do, how to invest, and this will go up, this will go down. So there is too much information, and it is very difficult to filter that information and process as to which one to follow. And I think knowing what to actually believe in and what not is the one which will be like a game changer.
Please mute yourself, the others. Please mute yourself.
So coming to wealth creation, so this is the most important thing. So there are two parts. One is wealth creation, wherein we start creating wealth from the time that we start earning. Wealth protection is something for a retired individual who have an immense wealth, and they're not looking to create more. They are only looking to protect that wealth. So today I will be talking more about the wealth creation, which can happen only by doing asset allocation. That is, assets can be either like real estate, it can be debt as in like fixed deposits, equity is nothing but stocks, and gold. So knowing your asset allocation is extremely important, and this is the game changer. If you take this one slide home as a take-home message, I think that is it. It is not about which stock to buy. It is not about which mutual fund to put in. It is not about how much gold to buy. This is only about diversifying your wealth into 4 different aspects, which will again balance your portfolio, which will reduce your risk. So risk returns is also something which we need to think of. And when we diversify our money, so even if you have to invest say 1 lakh rupees, if you diversify it and invest it, then whenever there is one asset which is not really giving you good returns, the other asset will kind of balance it, and that is when your overall portfolio, overall your net worth will be quite good at the end of say the number of years that you have invested. So why do we need to do all this? Is because we need better quality of work and better patient care without actually worrying about the finances and worrying about the EMIs that we'll have to pay, or the other part of our kids education, or even our managing our own individual setups, paying the salaries, paying the electricity, so many things, and our investment into the highly the costing equipments. So all those things require money, and we can only concentrate on patient care when we are free from the stress of thinking about money. And once we are financially secure, then we can work towards the well-being of medical associations like anything like your local association, IMA, KASOGA, and we can also help out our colleagues without actually thinking about the competition. So personally, it relieves the tension of building our net worth, and also it will help us have time to pursue our passion like fitness, sports, spirituality, and it gives us enough family time and good quality of life. So chase your dreams, let the money chase you. So when to plan? Today, if not started already, then today is the best time to start investing and planning. And as we all know, it is not about some say that, oh, I only make about say 50,000, I can save only about 10,000. I will start investing when I will start earning more than 1 lakh. So that is wrong. So time is the greatest compounder, and compounding is the 8th wonder. And this cannot be stressed upon. The earlier we start investing, the net worth is going to be tremendously different, and it is going to be really high if we start early. So starting early, this is what we need to teach children, even from the day that they start earning, even if it is like 5,000 rupees that they can spare on investing, that is how they need to do it. And I think as doctors, as intelligent and mature individuals who are quite like aware of the life and the negative aspects of it. So this is what we need to teach our children. So the milestones in financial freedom, first is like passive income, which should be more than our annual expenses. So if our expenses per month is about say 50,000 and we need 6 lakhs as annual expenses. So having that kind of a passive income to take care of our basic need on a monthly basis, that is first goal. The second goal is like when the passive income becomes more than our active income. So if you are getting a salary of 1 lakh, if you can make sure that your passive income without actually doing anything, getting more than 1 lakh is like, I think that is the second goal. So the third goal is funds to survive 20 years without any active income. This is the ultimate financial freedom, where we don't have to go to work just because like we have to put food on the table or for our children's education or for our own bills. So that is something which is the ultimate. And we should know like what is not investment. So this is again, all doctors make mistake in this, and I have seen many my own colleagues who have done this, like where they keep putting everything in FD and they keep buying insurance policies from LIC as an investment. So I would like to again stress upon this, that this does not beat inflation, and this is not an investment. This is like you are reducing the value of your own money by doing this, because it doesn't beat the inflation. So bank deposit, for example, 10,000 rupees, if you deposit and after 1 year, it becomes 10,700 and tax will be like 10%. So you get about like 10,630, inflation is 6 to 8%, and that will be 637 rupees. So at the end of 1 year, even if you get that 700 rupees, you are still negative. So your 10,000 rupees has not grown at all in 1 year with the FD. So FD is out of the equation when we talk about like, investing. Gold jewelry, I think this is something which I think people will hate me here, because all gynecologists, all women love jewelry. But gold jewelry, again, like, that is a pseudo asset which everybody considers as their status symbol. But I think this slide tells you what is true asset, which true assets are the one which can be sold easily, like FDs, bonds, shares, gold coins, plots, lands. Pseudo assets are like home, but home has an emotional attachment to it in India. So that I can't say it as a pseudo asset, but the home that you live in is something which we cannot like, say it as a pseudo asset. But any after second home, third home, fourth home, like we see people buying apartment every year. So that is not a true asset. Jewelry, it is not a true asset. Furniture, car, these are not even to be called as assets. So insurance is an expense, and we should not waste our time studying about insurance. So just take one insurance as a life insurance and forget about it. Don't mix it with like, they will give a return of this much, 4%, 3% along with the insurance. So we should never mix insurance and investment. So must have insurances. This is very important. Term insurance, health insurance, professional indemnity, car insurance, yes, if needed, travel insurance if needed. So term insurance, health insurance, and professional indemnity is very important, and don't even think of it as an expense. This is a must-do thing, and everybody should have these insurance. So where to invest? So again, I told you 4 aspects like gold, real estate, equity, and debt. And this is a slide wherein like, depending on the age, like we have to allocate the percentage of our income in these assets. So the younger we are, we can take more risks, where our investment should be more in equity and less in debt. But if we are older, then our investment should be less in equity, because equity will take about 7 years to show some kind of return. And many times there will be a phase, because it depends on a lot of factors like global economy and local economy, like nations like political this thing. So there are so many things on which the stock market or the equity is dependent on. So the time that we spend in the stock market is very important. So if you don't have that 7 years to 10 years to invest in or park your money, then it is not good to invest in equity. So the older you get, move all your wealth into either FDs. And I think doctors, like we all know, we are loaded with real estate, and I don't think I should speak about real estate because everybody is aware. So real estate, the advantage is like we all get rental income, and there is definitely capital appreciation because India is a market where land is really valued. But the disadvantage is like low liquidity, like we can't sell it, and also high capital investment, and taking loan to invest in real estate is again not so great. Also, the selling time, the problems that it has, I think that is a headache which only few people have that the kind of appetite to deal with, and it comes with a lot of like hassles of the tax, and also dealing protecting your property again is a big deal. So equity, yes, it helps in diversifying your portfolio. It is highly liquid. You can just sell it and get that money in 48 hours. And long-term returns are quite high in equity. And this is very important that the equity, like the time spent, like minimum, like what I have seen is in the past 30 to 40 years, the way that the Nifty has given returns is like, I mean, I think it is very, very commendable in Indian market. So choosing stocks, it is high risk. It depends on the market condition. So don't go and choose individual stocks and mess up your portfolio. So the risk management in stocks is by diversifying and minimum 7 years, and we have to buy when there is dip, but it actually doesn't matter. You can even do a SIP, that is like systematic investment plans, like every month you can invest a fixed amount of money, and that still gives a good amount of return. It need not be a dip buying low. So people were waiting for the crash in the COVID to buy the dip, or like when there was Russia-Ukraine crisis, the stock fell and people bought it. But that is like, you need to track it, and it is quite difficult for busy professionals like us. So doing SIP itself is like, a good way of investing. So no matter how great the talent or effort, some things just take time. You can't produce a baby in 1 month by making 9 women pregnant. So this holds good even for stock market. Having patience is very important when you are dealing with it. So Nifty Bees, this is like investing in the Nifty. Nifty is a collection of 50 top companies of India. And this is the National Stock Exchange website. So Nifty Bees and Junior Bees are the ones that are supposed to be invested, which are quite diversified, and we don't have to worry about the too much of volatility. So this is a chart which shows like the returns between FD, gold versus equity. So you can see here equity definitely scores over the FD and gold, but having gold and equity is important to kind of complement. So here, because the gold has increased so much in the past few years now, so 20-year CAGR in gold is 11.96% and Nifty is 12.72%. So Indian women are quite rich because I think every woman is like so, I think so much in love with gold that it actually works. So many men, like, I mean, who have invested in multiple businesses are in fact struggling, but women who are holding quite a good amount of like gold, I mean, they're really like, they're doing quite well. And I wouldn't say that gold is bad, because many a times in villages, like gold has become like an emergency fund where they can sell it and help in cases of crisis. So this is again, gold is one of the assets for investment. Through ages, it has provided value, liquidity, and its average return is close to 10%, which has beaten inflation in long term. So it is, it should not be like gold or Nifty. So it is not gold instead of Nifty. It is gold and Nifty, which will help us in building our portfolio. So physical gold, we have jewelry, we have certified coins. So you can see, like, I mean, if you come to Jayanagar 4th block on the Akshaya Tritiya day, you will see like there is no place to enter the jewelry store. So it will be so, it is as if they are giving out free, in spite of like, the gold being so costly. But I think the certified coins, like rather than the jewelry, because jewelry again needs the making charges, so many things are involved in it, the stones, and also protecting that jewelry. So when you want to like give it back, and so much money you are losing on it. So that actually doesn't work as a investment, but I know women love to like wear it in functions or like in marriages and all. So certified coins is a good way to have physical gold. So the price of gold is revised daily internationally based on the price declared by London Bullion Association. And certified gold coins are very easy to buy. Minimal hidden charges can be redeemed against exact buying weight. Purity is guaranteed by certification of BIS. So jewelry is not an investment, it is an expense. Social status, especially during weddings, at the cost of more essential necessities. Biggest lifeline for many rural families, one needs to be careful about purity and weight. So gold is good for diversification, and non-physical forms of gold are becoming popular now. Gold ETF and gold mutual funds, and there is sovereign gold bonds which are released in tranches by the government of India. Gold derivatives are also there. So this is gold ETF which needs demat account, and it has got good liquidity and it is easily saleable. So it comes as gold Bs in your demat account. And SGB is better, that is sovereign gold bonds is better if you want to hold till 2.5% interest on its face value in addition to the appreciation of the gold value. Tax benefit on the maturity proceeds.
Dr. Uma, please mute yourself.
So gold Bs is better if you want to sell at your convenience and can be pledged for margin if you're doing future and options. So sovereign gold bond is the government securities denominated in gold, and the bonds are issued by RBI on the government's behalf. And these gold bonds substitute for physical gold. The purchase and redemption happen in terms of cash only and not gold. SGBs are debt securities that were introduced in 2015 and enable person to own gold in certificate format. And since government backs it, it is very, very safe. You don't have to worry that it will get lost, it will be like stolen, or it will lose its shine, or you don't have to worry about the purity and all those things. So the minimum investment in SGB is 1 gram and maximum is 4 kgs for an individual and HUF per year. However, for trust and similar entities, 20 kgs is maximum investment per year. So this you can purchase from commercial banks like HDFC, ICICI, IDBI. So every time there is a new tranche which is released, so you will get a message from your bank saying that this is getting released, and it will open for a few days, like maybe 10 days, 1 week. So by then you will have to either like call up your relationship manager and ask them that you want to buy it. Designated post offices also sell the SGB. NSE, BSE also sell SGB. So the price of 1 unit of bond is fixed per tranche. The issue price of gold bond is calculated using a simple average price 3 days prior to the first day of subscription. So we will get a discount of 50 rupees per gram if you purchase and make the payment online. And the gold bonds have a tenure of 8 years with a locking period of 5 years. So this, again, we can buy, go to the bank and we can buy it, or we can buy it in the post office. We can buy it online also. And we can buy it through our brokers. We can buy it through our demat account. The RBI on behalf of government pays a periodical interest to us. The rate of interest is 2.5% per annum on the amount of initial investment. So interest is credited semi-annually, and the last interest is payable to the investor on the date of maturity along with the principal. So if we redeem it, then we lose the tax-free option. So we'll have to pay the long-term capital gain, that is 20%, which is added to that. So better is to hold for 8 years. And SGB is ideal for a long-term investor purchasing in small quantity and for diversification of the asset, and who have white money to buy it. So you buy the bonds in primary market with the RBI, there is no tax. You buy the bonds, that is the SGB, in the secondary market and redeem at the end of like 8 years, there is no tax. When you buy the bond in the primary market and sell in the secondary market without actually finishing the 8 years, then you will have to pay capital gains. And you buy the bonds in the secondary market, that is in the demat account, and sell it in the in your demat account, then we'll have to pay the tax. So these are the differences between physical gold, gold ETF, and sovereign gold bond. So the important thing is the storage cost. We have to go purchase a locker and keep them safe. Then we have to keep monitoring as to where you have kept, because like people will have so much jewelry that they forget, like, which set where they have kept diamonds and all those stuff. So between the physical gold and the paper gold, I think the digital gold is much better. And in physical gold, if you want to buy, better to go for coins rather than buying the jewelry. And between the gold ETF and SGB in digital gold, I think sovereign gold bond is the best one. And there is no doubt that everybody should invest in sovereign gold bond as an investment, because that will fetch you a lot of like returns, and also it gives tax-free returns, which is very important again. So coming to government bonds, so this gives a fixed cash flow every year. So when we are talking about gold, we were talking about gold versus, like, there are set of people who believe only in gold investment and who don't understand stock market and who don't want to invest in stock market, and that is still good. Gold is a very good investment option, but along with that, having some amount of exposure to Nifty is important. So when we are talking about government bonds, so these are bonds which are sold by the government. So this is, we are talking not in comparison with the gold or with the equity. We are talking about government bonds, comparing it to the fixed deposits. So this has to be a little clear, where this is not about wealth creation. This is not about getting very high returns. This is about protecting what you already have and beating the inflation to make your money worth. Like if the inflation is 7%, so in government bonds, I think the returns are the same. So this gives a fixed cash flow every year. So why bonds? It is again a part of asset allocation. And as we all know, government is the safest custodian to our wealth. So we can be cheated by so many other chit funds and all that stuff, but we believe that the government will not cheat us. And these are the bonds which are issued by the government. And many a times, like even if you have put your money in FDs in banks, so they say that they have a clause that your FD will be returned if the bank becomes bankrupt. It will give only 5 lakhs as a return. Whereas in bonds, there is no clause like that. Even if you put 1 crore in the bond, you will get 1 crore at the end of like the time that you have invested for. Whereas in banks, you can never say that. We see so many cooperative banks going bankrupt, who say that they don't have any money, and with a lot of mistakes happening in their administration. So these GSECs, that is the government security bonds, as we call. So they give a return of 7% now, and it is better returns than FD, and it is safer than FD. FD are guaranteed by RBI up to 5 lakhs. Government bonds are 100% guaranteed by the government. Some part of your portfolio should be in fixed income like these bonds. And if we want to invest for 40 to 50 years in fixed income, bonds are the one which we should go for. And we can pledge these bonds to get margin for F&O trading, but that I don't want to talk about. And this helps in nation building, because we are giving, it is as if we are giving loan to the government to run the nation. And the more invest we make in the government bonds, the more stronger our country will become. So these are risk-free. The nation guarantees that they will be paid back. This is called sovereign guarantee. Government bonds are also called as sovereign debt. So this is the bonds, that is the treasury bills and the GOI dated bonds, and there will be no TDS on this. So this is how actually the bond looks like. So this will be written there. The 726 is 7.26% interest on a government sovereign bond. So 2033 is the maturity year. So the bond will have a price, that is the price at which we buy. And it can be bought from the RBI directly in an auction, which is like a IPO. or it can be bought from a secondary market. The price is never 100 rupees. This is because the bond prices go up and down. So this is my the bond investment, and this is actually from my Demat account snapshot. This is how it actually looks. You can see here some bonds are 738, some are 739, some are 754. So the bond that is the interest rate, or what we call it as coupon rate, that can be that it is giving us. And the maturity, one is like 2036, one is 2026, one is like 2027. So the most important number in the bond is the yield to maturity. So if we have invested for 10 years or 7 years, so for these many years, how much is the yield? How much is the return when it matures? So higher the yield, then the better it is. So I don't want to go there. You can just calculate it online. So we can directly buy it from an RBI auction, or we can buy it from a secondary market through our broker. We can invest in mutual funds that invest in G-Secs. So I will just show you online as to how we can buy it. So this is my Zerodha Demat account. So I will just enter the password, and I will get the code on my mobile. So I will put that code here to go to my account. So you can see that I have this. So we go to this bids. So this bids, it will tell us like these are the options which are there. So IPOs and government securities. So if we go to the government security, you can see these are the T-bills and government security bonds which are available for placing the bid. So so you can see here, whichever is giving the maximum yield, this yield we can choose and we can place a bid. So the minimum amount is 10,000 rupees, as you can see. So the last bid is for 4th July. So all we need is like a Demat account, and everything is like on just online. You don't have to call your agent. You don't have to do anything. So you just place a bid and you have placed it. So they will send you the like you just have to put money into your Demat account, and your G-Sec will come to your account. It will be shown in your holdings. So this is how easy it is to actually buy now. So there is no reason as to for us to say that we didn't know or we don't know and all. Everything is on the information is available on YouTube. So these auctions are there at regular intervals, usually every Friday, and you just need to keep checking it. So you can either buy it by Brokers Terminal or Kite Zerodha mutual funds. So trading G-Secs, I don't think anybody would do it. So this is again the T-bills which is there. So TB is the T-bill. So these are the T-bills which I have invested in, and this you can just see it every day if it makes you feel better. So tax, so the G-Sec interest is taxed at your tax slab. So depending on the tax slab that you come at, like 10%, 20%, 30%. So the same way, like the same tax will be applicable. And if we buy and sell, so short-term capital gains is applicable at your slab rate. After 1 year, it is a long-term capital gain, which your CA will be able to help you out with. G-Sec mutual fund, again, it is short-term capital gain less than 3 years, and it is long-term for more than 3 years. So G-Secs and T-bills are the ones. So G-Secs will be for longer duration. T-bills are for shorter duration parking of your funds. So T-bills, that is treasury bills, 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days. Whereas G-Secs will be for 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, like that, it will come. So this is Gilt funds. You can just Google it. I mean, the Gilt funds. So these are again like various T-bills and G-Secs. So in the very long run, equity will be better than government security bonds. That is given. But government security bonds are more safer than the equity who don't understand the stock market. Most G-Secs are not liquid in the secondary market. So if you have a Reliance share, you can just sell it on your Demat, where there will be so many buyers. Whereas in G-Secs, because it is not so popular, so there are no buyers even when you want to buy. So you will have to wait for the maturity of your bonds to kind of get the returns. So if you buy long-term G-Secs, their MTM value might change with the interest rate. So again, principles of investment is diversification, allocation. Senior citizens should reduce investment in volatile assets like equity and gold. Gold is again not so volatile, but equity definitely is volatile. They have to keep more in FDs and bonds, which is called as debt. Risk-averse person should have more of debt and less of equity. So again, I tell you that asset allocation and diversification is the key for wealth creation, and it is not about which stock to buy. It is not about anything else. Having a good asset allocation and diversifying, it is the way forward for wealth creation. And I think our doctors are like excellent in doing this, and they should all like try out at least they should start somewhere. So I finish my talk with this slide. So I thank everybody for giving me this opportunity, because this is very close to my heart as a topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shilpa. That was really excellent, clear-cut message on finance.
There are some questions, if you could take it. And
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Shilpa, yes, very true. I think this was a much delayed topic. We should have had it much earlier in our series. But I think it's an eye-opener to many who are still in the infancy of investment. And I think we need, as you said, we doctors are very smart people, and we need to be smart in our investments also. And another word, I think, in spite of us being in the medical fraternity, I think what is it that health insurance with liquidity, or I mean, you have not gone into that purview. Probably it is beyond the purview of this talk.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I think doctors have to be wary about their professional indemnity and health insurance also, along with their financial investments.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Shilpa,
yes.
wonderful presentation. Really, I am inviting you for two things in Belgaum. One is to address on infertility and lap surgery, and the important topic on investments, financial. At least to Belgaum, I am inviting her, Bharti.
I will talk on
Definitely.
finances, sir. Forget about laparoscopy and infertility. There will be enough and more people who will talk on it. So
Yes,
yeah.
as Shilpa said, we need somebody to talk on this in every session, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have to
yeah.
put it into the doctors that yes, start early. As she said, no, the compounding when
Especially
you
young
start
doctors.
early really pays you off.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
it's
That
nice
when
and really happy, Shilpa, that you are you know so much about it, which many of the doctors are unaware. And thank you for that eye opener. And people should know about this. Thank you.
We'll start with basics, sir. How to open a DMAT account. How
Yeah.
to
Yes.
actually
How
buy
to open a
stock.
DMAT
Very
account.
true.
So
we will call you, Shilpa.
yes,
Come
sir.
to
Yes, sir.
Belgaum. To
Yes, sir,
Belgaum.
surely. So that is why I showed the live how to buy the bonds and how to actually, because I think people think that this is very difficult and this they cannot do
I
it.
understand.
They pay
Correct.
lots of like the
agents.
friends, the what do they call
Brokerage,
that?
the brokerage people.
Brokerage itself is so much in this that they
2%.
lose out a big chunk of their
Yeah.
the returns in that thing, and whatever they come and sell, like the LIC person will come and sell, oh, this is a new thing which has come in, some so fancy
I
name they
fully
will
agree.
say, and we will the way they talk, we just get so carried away that we will say, okay, I'm doing it for the next 10 years, take every month 1 lakh, because we want somebody, and I always think that it should always never be outsourced. We should always have a hold and always know like where our money is parked, and if required, it should be in a place wherein you can just
Liquidate it immediately.
liquidate.
Yeah.
And you have to have, see, I think it is more about having a peaceful life, enjoying your profession, enjoying and having a good quality of work, because as OBGYNs, we all deserve the comfort that comes with money. I don't think that it is bad to expect it, and I think all of us agree on that.
Yes, very
Yeah,
true.
totally.
Rachna,
Can
can
I
you take the questions? Can you take there are some questions in the chat box?
Yes, ma'am. One Dr. Meena is asking that she would prefer to invest in FDs. She is
No,
a
no,
chunk of
I
money.
don't do FDs. I do only, no, I don't do FDs at all. I put in DMAT. Once you have your DMAT account, you will know how easy it is to actually invest in something called as liquid bees. So liquid bees is again an instrument wherein you can just park it there. And this will give about 4% return. You can liquidate that whole thing. You don't have to wait for maturity. You can immediately like sell it, and you can use that money for anything. It will come in your Demat account.
Dr. Shilpa, in some account, in the like in our phone, the mobile banking apps we have, no, we have something where we can park our money there, and it will be earning some interest for us. And whenever we want, we bring it back into the current account. What's that called? Liquid funds. Liquid funds.
Yeah, liquid funds. It's the same thing, ma'am. I
Yeah,
mean,
same
it's the same. But once you have the this thing, like the Demat account, you will know about like the liquid Bs, which is so easy. Like you just park it, even when you like in this ups and downs in the market. Like if you have made good returns, then you just sell everything when the market is on the high, and you park that money in liquid Bs. Whenever there is a crash, you just invest it immediately. So these are a little high end, which I think will need a little tracking, but this is not difficult. That is what I mean to say. See, for somebody who is like so much full into profession, if I can do it, then anybody can do it, especially people who are, you know, a little more, who can spare some time. So I think it is so easy to actually do it. It will take, I will not say it is easy, you can do it from tomorrow. But if you spend 6 months, we spend 6 months for so many things. We go for training so many times for things like, you know, I mean, cosmetic gynecology, stem cells, that, this and all. But this is something which we have to crack so that we are, we can concentrate on our profession, and we can actually like, you know, elevate our skills, because we don't have that stress of like, you know, earning this much money every month. So your passion, your commitment towards your patient, your commitment to your colleagues, everything will improve. And that is what I have seen in my career. I have become a better person, actually. I mean,
Shilpa,
Yeah, I agree on that.
Shilpa, can I add something here, Madam Bharti, with your permission?
Yes, yes, sure, Dr. Rajshri.
Shilpa had organized a webinar, a similar kind of webinar about 3-4 months back. And let me tell you, Shilpa, that after that, I really generated interest. And I'm actually now tracking and looking into what is happening into my Demat account, which was previously handled by a fund manager from HDFC. And definitely, I would say that you are a combination of, you know, mathematics and gynecology usually do not go together, but the numericals and the way you are presenting is so astounding. And second aspect is that you have a clarity of knowledge. And third is most important, you are loving to share your knowledge with everybody. That itself is a big accolade for you. And being honest to show your Demat account on screen is like, I also looked at that Asian Paints has gone down. Somebody was telling that Asian Paints has gone down, and yes, it showed red mark on your Demat account book. Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you so much. And Bharti Madam, this was an excellent idea to have Shilpa to, you know, gear us up with handling the kind
It
of
was Rachna's idea.
Yes.
It was Rachna's idea. He wanted to do something different.
Yeah,
We
I'm
wanted to
sailing
do
in the
something
same boat
different,
as
and he
Shilpa.
suggested that.
Shilpa said about
I'm
pursuing your
newcomer.
activities. I'm going to play badminton in the evening now. So for past
Very
1
good,
hour
very
now.
good.
So that is the kind of, you know, enhancement of a
Yes.
personality that we can really have by resorting to methods and categorizing our priorities so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think, Rachna, there's a question by Dr. Vanita. What about PPF? Do they mean Provident Fund?
Yeah, PPF,
PPF.
Provident Fund. Yeah,
Public Provident Fund.
Yeah.
Public Provident.
I think that is, I mean,
Shilpa.
Shilpa, would you like to answer that question? Are you there, Shilpa?
Shilpa is frozen.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Yeah, madam, I think, I mean, I'm not exactly sure about this Provident Fund. I think that is like a savings, and it does just give you some returns, but not to the extent of what the equities and bonds would give you, I think.
Yeah,
And
not to that
tax-free. It is tax-free.
great extent as
Yes.
this.
so,
Of
so
course.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
And which is
Yeah.
the best professional insurance? I think we'll have to talk to the agents and find out what is best for us, and then take an insurance according to
No,
that.
I think, ma'am, in this, we'll have to talk about two things as to how hands-on that company will be to help us out in dealing with immediate crisis, and also medico-legal support.
Legal help, yeah. The legal help is what they need to give us.
Yeah, yeah. So I think if we can have somebody who can help our members with that immediate immediate crisis. So there are two aspects of it. One is the legal aspect wherein we go to the court, we fight it out and all that stuff. The other aspect is the immediate. If there is a mortality, then how we actually deal with that situation, because that brings down the morale of our professionals like quite drastically. And we are all like individuals. I think especially in bigger cities, now that we are practicing individually without the corporate umbrella, I think that is one of the things. So I have taken up with one company which is like, in Bangalore. I mean, I will not name that company, but so what I look for in that company is whether they will be able to reach me on the same day, whether they will help me with mob, whether they will help me with say out of court settlement, whether they will help me with the legal aspect of it, and they will help me with the media.
Oh, they deal with all that.
They kind of like the first three they deal with, but the fourth one is again about our individual rapport with the media and what actually happens, like you all know about the media part. So, but these are the things I think many people are not aware of existence of some company. It is not about a piece of paper where you pay like 6,000 rupees per year and say that I have an insurance, but you will not be able to sleep peacefully in your private practice with that piece of paper. So whether I am able to call that 1% in the middle of the problem, and will they be able to help me out? I think this is something which I think when I was the president, I asked them to come give the presentation and do it. But again, people are still, till they end up having one problem, they will not realize
exactly. Yes,
so now
they will say it'll never they believe it never happens to me, but it happens to somebody else.
Yeah. So I think as President Madam, I think you should have two things in your ear. One is the giving that kind of mental the confidence to members that this is an option which is available as medico-legal. So if you can practice without fear, that is, I think, will be your biggest achievement. Second thing is practicing without having that commercials in your mind. So financial part of the practice. Yeah. So if these two talks can be incorporated in your various physical conferences, I think your job is done as to empower our members of Karnataka.
Yes, that will be taken up, Dr. Shilpa.
I should just mention, ma'am, IMA, that way, IMA
is supportive.
Is very good, very
supportive. They are supportive.
And they'll fight for us.
Yes.
They keep the lawyer and they fight for us. And they're there as soon as you call them.
The team is there. The team is there to help us.
There immediately if we are going through a crisis.
Yes.
IMA
is very, very supportive.
Should have IMA, all schemes, come what may, even the term
social security scheme as well as the professional protection scheme.
Yes, all IMA schemes you should, and it's term insurance also very less amount, ma'am, what we are paying. Term insurance in other companies to IMA term insurance, the amount we pay is very less. The premium is very less. Hardly 7,000, 8,000 is the premium. So everybody should have IMA, all schemes.
Yes. So if there is anything that any of our Dr. Durgadas or anybody wants to give any inputs, otherwise I think it was an excellent session. We should have more such sessions, which we are not talking just about the medical science, but we're talking of something more than that. I think that's good. And Rachna, you can take over.
I think
Durgadas,
all the other topics, there'll be updates and there'll be change in the guidelines and all that. But this money matters, I think it will remain the constant all over.
Now we should also start thinking about our Kasoga FDs. Then we have to take advice from Dr. Shilpa.
Yes, madam. Yes, surely.
FDs should be changed, ma'am.
I think we should change consultancy. Shilpa is very busy in uploading other videos. With that, she has to upload these videos also. Very inspiring. Very inspiring.
For Kasoga to change the FDs, there are bylaws, ma'am. That needs to be changed. Only then.
That will be discussed in the managing committee.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, ma'am. I request Suman Gaddi, ma'am.
Wait, Dr. Durgadas wants to say something, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
No, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Suman.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, good evening, one and all. It was a wonderful session. And thanks to our entire Kasoga team, headed by
Dr. M.G. Hiramat and led by Dr. Bharti Rajshekar. I also thank Dr. Nagaraj, Dr. Rashid Palidhi, Dr. Durgadas, Dr. Vidya Tobi, all, one and all. And of course, today's speakers were excellent. Dr. Bharti Rajshekar, Dr. Alexander Thomas, who was also our chief guest, Dr. Rekha Rajendra Kumar, who spoke on PCPNDT Act, and Dr. Shilpa GB, of course, bonds and gold for investment, of course, an eye-opener for all of us. I also thank the chairpersons, Dr. M.B. Ballad and Dr. Priyankar Roy, our convener, Dr. Rachana, who is the chairperson of MD
Medical
PSPC, Disorders of Pregnancy, Kasoga, and of course, the coordinators, Dr. Shobha Shavi, and of course, all the delegates. I thank all the who's logged in, and of course, our Zoom platform, Mr. Arun, and good evening, one and all. I end here. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
ma'am.
Sudha. Thank you,
ma'am.
Dr. Rachna, and thanks to all of you. Have a happy weekend. We are still far away from the weekend, but
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
safe practice and happy doctors year, I would say. Let us all be happy and safe.
Yes,
Good night.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Yeah, good night. Good night.